What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy, almost Friday, not quite. Happy Thursday, everybody. Yes, welcome to it. Hope all of you are having a delightful Thursday so far. We're days away from time change. So I don't know if that means it's dark because of that or dark in spite of that.
We're hitting that part of the year, those like few days right before the time change where it's like, oh, okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
Yeah.
Because it's like, right now, it would be 6:07, right? And we switch at 6:07. So, yeah, technically, the sun wouldn't come up for a few more minutes in a normal day.
Yeah.
So the time change makes sense from like Tuesday to now. Or till the time change, I guess.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. Makes sense, right?
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Well, happy pre-time change Thursday.
It's also kind of cloudy this morning.
A tad bit. A tad bit. But
not as foggy as it was like yesterday. That's always interesting driving through.
I mentioned this on the radio. I don't think you were in the room, but Tuesday, when it was saying on our weather forecast, patchy fog before 9 and all that, and it was like sunny and everything here in downtown Roswell proper, I guess. But when I got off the air, I had to drive to Artesia, and it's about 10:15 or so. And as soon as I left town and got just south of town, just north of Dexter, fog wall. I just hit like this fog, and it was pretty much overcast, foggy, almost all the way to Artesia.
That's crazy. Yeah, it was. The fog was so thick the other day, and this was maybe like a week and a half ago. In the process of dropping my kids off at Grandma's house in the morning, I actually turned down the wrong. Like Roswell, I could usually get around with my eyes closed because I've driven around this town so much. But I actually ended up turning down the wrong street because I saw what I thought was the fence to the next door neighbor's house, but it was a fence from like 3 blocks down. So then I'm like, where am I? And I got lost for a second. I had to get my bearings back. But
would have been funny is if you pull into like the same lot that would have been on your street at that street.
Drop my kids off.
Wow, whose car is that?
Who are these people? Walk into the house like I normally do. Nobody's around. The furniture's all different.
I didn't know I bought salami.
Guys, sit here on the couch until we figure out what's going on.
It's Simpsons time. Why are we watching this? Well, happy Thursday, everybody.
Yes.
I think I'll do it next hour. But I do have one more follow-on from yesterday and my uncle that happened
another one.
Post the show.
Okay.
So I'll do that in the next hour. But for those that don't know, yesterday, and I told you all about this a couple weeks ago. My uncle had passed away, and in his obituary, my cousins put in there that he was a lifelong fan of DC sports and particularly the Redskins, and his dying wish, other than for his family and friends to for health and prosperous times, but also we wish Dan Snyder would sell the Washington Commanders. Well, and we all kind of laughed at it. That's funny. That's typical us, ha ha ha. Well, the local Fox News affiliate in D.C. picked up my uncle's obituary and made it a story and interviewed my cousin, and so that it turned this whole thing. And it happened. It went down what's today? Thursday, Tuesday night. It aired on their Fox 10 o'clock news or whatever. I think 11 o'clock news there on the East Coast. But anyway, so yesterday, if you follow sports or care, a news story broke that Dan Snyder's hiring Bank of America to seek exploring selling the team. And since that busted, and then that story, the Fox affiliate said is basically now calling my uncle some kind of working his magic up in heaven.
Soothsayer, right?
Soothsayer.
He's got the ear of the big guy.
So there's a follow-on interview with my cousin that happened yesterday, and so I'll share that next hour.
And if he's got his wits about him, what he needs to do is send this story to the producers of Kimmel, Fallon, everybody who does late night.
Well, they have to worry because it's got Fox all over it. So it's the
Kelly
Fox.
Clarkson, any of the daytime shows.
There you go.
Is Ellen still clogging up daytime? No, she's gone now. But I mean, like
Jennifer Hudson. I think
Jennifer Hudson. What's that one dude? Jerry O'Connell. He's doing a show now.
He's got a show now. Yeah.
Get it to those people. Guaranteed they would run with the story. You want to extend your 15 minutes a little bit.
By the way,
is
that just Jerry O'Connell getting older, or is he like hitting the Botox like his...
Oh, he's been hitting the Botox like crazy.
Because I saw him like on that show. I saw like a segment or a part of it, and I looked at him. I was like, whoa, what happened to Jerry O'Connell? He don't look right.
No, his face is like frozen and pulled back.
Yeah,
he's had a lot of work done.
It looks very weird, but anyway...
Hey, he nailed down Rebecca Romaine. He's doing something right.
That was pre whatever's going on.
That was after she de-Stamos.
Well, I would say because I'm guessing she's had a time or two under the knife.
Oh, of course.
Well, I'm assuming here, but I don't know.
Hey, beauty costs. Okay, if you want beauty, it's time to pay.
That's right.
Blood and face cuts.
Who cares? You look like a Halloween costume.
That's not the point.
All right, let me give you the rundown for today's show. I haven't even done that yet. We do have a full slate for you for today's show. We're going to start off here in just a few minutes. We're going to have Chaves County Manager Bill Williams join us. Along with him will be Mike Espiritu, the Roswell Chaves County EDC Director. They're going to be talking about their Light for Vets project, and it's pretty cool. Lighting up the Chaves County Courthouse with green lights for Greens for Veterans, and we'll talk more about this project and what they're doing here in just a few. Speaking of lights, in the 8 o'clock hour, no pun intended, it just happened this way. Speaking of lights, we're going to have Wes Reeves and Mike McLeod from Excel Energy join us in the 8 o'clock hour today, and we'll just get an update and talk about some of the things Excel Energy are up to right now. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, we don't have a guest scheduled, so I'm going to replay our interview. Yesterday, we had Brian Luck, Roswell Independent School District Superintendent, join us, and we discussed highlights and from the last school board meeting, which took place on Tuesday, and just overall update on what's going on around the district. So that is the rundown for today's show. It is 13 minutes after 7 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Got a cold front on the way, so we'll be cooler by tomorrow. In the meantime, mid to upper 70s and very windy today with sunshine. Overnight, some clouds rolling in, our low dropping to about 40, and then windy and sunny on Friday, but a lot cooler. Our high will stay right around 60. Then the weekend looks pretty good, sunny and 70 on Saturday, mid 70s and sunny Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 55 degrees. A little fog and mist out there this morning. Humidity is at 90%. Winds currently out of the south at 14 miles per hour. They could see some more of this patchy fog through mid-morning, 9 a.m.-ish today. Otherwise, mostly sunny. The sun will come out. It's going to be warm, mid-70s. 75 is what they're officially saying, but with this coming the winds, going to be breezy today. Winds will be out of the south, 10 to 15 miles per hour this morning. Later in the day, those winds are going to pick up 20 to 25, gusting as high as 35 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy. Expect an overnight low of 44 degrees. Winds out of the southwest, 15 to 20 miles per hour. They will decrease down 10 to 15 after midnight tonight. For you Friday, it's going to be mostly sunny and cooler. With these winds, that's bringing in cooler temperatures. We're going to go from mid-70s today to pushing near 60 near 60 tomorrow. Mostly sunny, high of 59 expected. Winds will remain breezy out of the west, 10 to 15 miles per hour early, increasing later tomorrow afternoon, 20 to 25, gusting as high as 35 miles per hour. Friday night, mostly clear, overnight low of 37, west winds 5 to 15. And then for your weekend, sunny, high of 71 for Saturday, so things warm right back up. Just really that one Friday of cooler temps. And then for Sunday, sunny skies, highs around 77. And looks like we're going to start next week in the upper 70s and sunny as well. So not too bad, but little wind and today and tomorrow and cooler temps for tomorrow. All right, it is 15 minutes after 7 o'clock. We're going to take a 3-minute break, and then we're going to talk to Bill Williams, Chaves County Manager, and Mike Espiritu with the Roswell Chaves County EDC. That's coming up on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
This is Larry Marker, independent write-in candidate for Commissioner of Public Lands. Together, we can take back our public lands while preserving the integrity of your vote. It's easy to vote for Larry Marker. On your ballot, go to the space provided for declared write-in candidate. It's under the heading Commissioner of Public Lands. Mark the oval and write in Larry Marker. Together, we can take back our public lands and preserve the integrity of your vote. Go to LarryMarker.com for more information. Thank you.
Larry Marker, independent write-in candidate for Commissioner of Public Lands. Paid for by the Friends of Larry Marker.
If a sports injury is keeping you from the physical activities you love, the sports medicine team at Artesia General Hospital can help. Their orthopedic specialists and physical therapists work closely with you throughout diagnosis and treatment. No matter the injury, from ACL injuries, golfers and tennis elbow to foot and ankle pain, they'll get you back in the game. Appointments are available in Artesia or Carlsbad. Request an appointment at artesiageneral.com/sports.
Hi, I'm New Mexico's 5th District Division I Judge Eileen Reardon. This district covers Chavez, Lee, and Eddy counties. I want to thank all my supporters who believe in me and who have or will vote for me. I have integrity, honesty, and have consistently, to the best of my abilities, performed my judicial duties, and I want to continue as your 5th District Judge. As a voter, it's your privilege to go vote. You can vote early until November 5th or on Election Day, November 8th. Show your support by voting. I'm 5th District Judge Eileen Reardon, and I thank you.
Paid for by the Committee-elect Judge Reardon, Steve McCutcheon, Treasurer.
I'm Judge Reardon, and I approve this message.
Sound the alarm. Backdraft Barbecue is ready to set your taste buds on fire with the best slow smoke barbecue around, by the plate or by the pound. Plus truly one-of-a-kind creations like brisket nachos or the 5-alarm bowl, or a savory Sammy like the hook and ladder, or take on the 1098 challenge seen on Man vs. Food with over 4 pounds of everything Backdraft makes. Will you make the Wall of Fame or the Wall of Shame like Casey Webb of Man vs. Food? Open Tuesday through Saturday 11 to 8 and Sundays 11 to 5 in Roswell at 301 Railroad Avenue. Backdraft Barbecue, alarmingly delicious.
Hello, I'm Tara Mitcha, State Director for the National Rifle Association, letting you know that the NRA Political Victory Fund endorses State Representative Greg Nybert for re-election in House District 59. Greg has worked relentlessly to support our Second Amendment rights and to oppose legislation that restricts law-abiding gun owners. Progressive politicians in Santa Fe have an agenda that would erode our right to protect our families, our homes, and ourselves. Greg Nybert will vigorously oppose those who want to tread on our right to keep and bear arms and our precious liberty and freedom. He is a true friend of the Second Amendment and of our sporting heritage in New Mexico. Vote Greg Nybert, representative for House District 59.
I'm Greg Nybert, and I ask you to please vote for me for House District 59. Voting begins on October 11th, and Election Day is November 8th.
Paid for by Greg Nybert for State Representative. Richard Taylor, Treasurer.
The octopus and the squid both have 3 hearts. That's why they eat so many Tums. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 19 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from 2 different places, but with 1 heart. I'm just kidding. One common goal anyway here. We have, of course, Bill Williams, Chaves County Manager, with us, and Mike Espiritu with the Roswell Chaves County EDC. Good morning. How you guys doing?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, good morning. Doing well? Yeah. It's been a while. We were talking, Mike, since how's life over at the EDC? Things, I know business seems hopping around town, so things must be pretty good.
Things are going well.
Yeah?
We're very busy, and pretty excited about the growth in Roswell.
A lot of new construction around town, a lot of, it just seems scuttlebutt. You hear that so-and-so's coming, you hear the new restaurant. Ooh, look, Popeyes is coming up. So it's all like different. are on there. Got it, and it's all that seems to be just coming up here. So
you know that Popeyes, we actually worked that quite a bit, and that was actually supposed to be a smaller footprint. But when they realized the market, and the folks are actually the owners are out of San Diego,
sure,
and they actually said, well, we're going to go back and redraw this site, and we're going to double the footprint. So that's why it's going to be a big Popeyes, with a double drive-through like some of the other big, and I'm
trying to just to kind of just because we have a comparison now, so I'm assuming it'll be bigger than the one that they opened in Artesia.
Yes,
a couple months ago, whenever that opened.
And they're building. They're also building in Alamogordo, and if you saw the one in Alamogordo they're building, it looks tiny.
Oh, really?
Contrast, to that one we'll have.
So we got the big one.
Yeah, we got the big one.
We got the Popeyes that ate spinach.
Mike convinced him that we would eat chicken in Roswell.
That's right. That's right.
I'm not going to lie.
Bring your A-team.
I've always been a fan of their beans and rice, like over the years, and I'm not going to lie. I haven't had it in years because we don't have a Popeyes. So unless I'm out of town and happen to be near one, I never get to do it. So I will be looking forward to when I can have some of their beans and rice.
I was in Saudi Arabia during Desert Storm, and they had a Popeyes in their little shopping center down there, and we would go there. It wasn't quite the same, but it was fairly close.
Yeah.
But in Saudi Arabia, Popeyes.
I was in Kuwait, and they had their competition over there as well. A man with rank was in Kuwait, but and the big reason is because there's no pork. There's no chicken or no pork at Popeyes, so you can
the other white meat.
Yeah, so there's a lot of Needless to say, the rib shacks don't do so well in the Middle East.
Fact.
Not a big fan of bacon over there. So, well, speaking of being overseas and veterans here, that's what we're talking about here. Of course, last week when you were on, we kind of teased this a little bit, Bill, but kind of expound this Green for Veterans initiative that you guys are working on here.
The Chaves County Commission passed a resolution last Thursday for Operation Green Light for Veterans. And what we've done is we've committed to lighting all of our county buildings for the entire month. They suggested we do it for the week of Veterans Week, from the 7th to the 13th. But we decided, well, if we're going to do this, let's do it for the entire month. So we're lighting our courthouse, both the front and the back, so you can go down Virginia Street. It's really quite different the way it looks on the rear and compared to the front.
I always look from the front, so I think that might be this time I'm going to go the back way.
It's a real fun trip. It's a destination. And then we also did the Chaves County Administration Building.
Okay.
And those all three came out great. We draped them in green light in honor of veterans who are returning from active duty into their communities. And they say there's about 200,000 a year that return to their communities and try to, assimilate back into the way things are done. And so we passed a resolution last Thursday honoring them, saying that we were going to light our buildings for a month. And then as a part of that, what we've decided we wanted to do, and we didn't want to horn in on the usual Veterans Day
all the celebrations
programs that are going
things,
on, because
all the schools and
there are people that do this,
the citywide one, and all
do
that,
a great job, and the county, we don't do this whole lot, so we just said we want to do something special for them, but we don't want to necessarily take away from the great things.
Do something that's kind of in concert with everything else that's going on.
And so on Wednesday, the 9th, right?
Correct.
Yes.
So 1 week from yesterday.
We are going to present a proclamation from the Chaves County Commission to each of the we're calling it Veterans Appreciation Day.
Okay.
And we would like to present a copy of that to a representative from each of the members of the armed services.
Oh, very
And since
cool.
I'm not an armed services member, unfortunately, Mike has graciously stepped up and is helping me to navigate, who we can get and how we can get that, and understands that process certainly much better than I do.
Like you said, you've chewed some dirt in the veterans world here, so and any veteran knows that veterans can make other veterans do things. That's just something that there's an inherent gift there. I don't know.
I think it's an inherent understanding.
Yeah, that's it. True. That's what it really is. It's like, all right, that we can, regardless, and that's as a veteran myself, I just know doesn't matter what branch you served, where you served, when you served. You can kind of always spot your own kind out a little bit, or people that have been and experienced that. And then it's not just haircuts either. It's just, mannerisms, the way they talk, just there's certain things that you pick up when, I don't care if you served one enlistment or served a full
career
in it. You have you pick up some of these tendencies, and they stay with you for your whole life. And you just, veterans know it. We can smell it.
Well, it's great to really be able to honor veterans, because I don't think there's anyone in the community, whether they've been a military person or not, that doesn't have some ties. And I was thinking about it on the way over here this morning. I have 2 brothers and a brother-in-law right here in town that were all veterans. And like you said, one of them's a Marine, and certainly there's some kind of I don't know how they do it, but they all know when someone's a Marine, and they jump on it. I'm sure you Air Force guys do the same. And
sure,
it's a bond, right?
Yeah,
it's a bond because of life experiences.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then here's the other thing too is because military rib each other, the Air Force, Army, Navy calling the Marines jarheads, they're all calling the Navy guys squibs or something else. We're chair force, or for us Air Force guys, or stuff. It's always jokes of like, hey, how was your hotel room for the war last night, kind of thing, And then Army, we just tell them, couldn't get a good enough ASVAB score to get in the Navy or the Air Force, and we all do that, right? But the rule is we can do it, but you ever see that there's a meme I see on Facebook all the time, and it's from Goodfellas, and it's like 2 pictures, and it's like when the military ribs each other, and it shows the Goodfellas guys all laughing and hanging out, and he goes, but when outsiders make fun of military and they're all sitting here looking like they're about to kill you. I was like, that sums up pretty much how that works on the military stuff there.
Yeah, well, with military, it's the majority of folks in our world today have chosen to serve our country.
Sure.
And sadly, I think the last time we had a draft was in Vietnam, right?
Vietnam.
So, it's interesting to understand the complexities with our own federal government, right? Our lawmakers, how many are not service connected, and their viewpoints on veterans and the militaries. And that's why I think it's so important that our military veterans, whether they're served, like you said, 1 term or 20 plus years, that they continue to serve in their own capacities, in their own ways. And I think that's kind of cool, especially for a community.
Absolutely. So this is why we honor veterans and things, but it sounds like, with the county, this is pretty cool with the green. So how is all this working? Is there someone stringing all these green lights, or how does all this?
Shout out, kudos to the facility maintenance crew from Chaves County. They've done a great job.
Nice.
We've been planning this for about a month and a half, and we purchased some lights and tried them. Well, those didn't quite work, and then we sent those back and tried something a little different, and finally think we have a pretty good combination of things. And they've started putting them out. They may add a few more lights or make some adjustments, but generally speaking, the lights are all out and ready to go. This is part of the National Association of Counties. Is the one that put us onto it. So Chairman Cavan, he's a board member on National Association of Counties on the Western Interstate region, and he's all in.
Good. So we're going to see some other counties around the state doing the same thing?
In fact, I was looking this morning. San Juan County has posted some pictures of their stuff, and so I'm going to share ours with them. We'll share ours with the New Mexico County's website, and we want to kind of encourage people in our community. This is not only for federal buildings or state buildings or
do it at your home,
government buildings. We're encouraging people to put a green light, just 1 light bulb,
matter of fact, I'll
in their homes or businesses.
My guest next hour happened to be the gentleman from Xcel Energy, so maybe we can.
Well, funny you should mention Xcel Energy. So
maybe we can ask them what they know where we can get some of that.
Xcel Energy is a great partner in everything that we do within our community. Ask Mike, the economic development person. I mean, and he can tell you how great they are on so many levels and so many things. I made a call yesterday and said, we would like to hand out some light bulbs to the community, green light bulbs, so people can light up their home or their business.
Sure. Show their support.
Their support of veterans.
Change your porch lights with green lights.
I called Mike McLeod from our local Xcel Energy, and Mike says, no problem. How many can we get?
Nice.
And so we have a large number of light bulbs that will be available. We're going to hand them out.
I will thank him personally next hour when we see him in here.
Yeah. I mean, that was really, no questions asked. How many can you get? And
it's pretty neat. They just had those laying around like, we got a bunch of, what other colors do you need?
But we'll have light bulbs to hand out. And like I say, we want to encourage people to do that in their homes, businesses. And I kind of want to challenge people to start posting pictures on Facebook. Let's load it up with green lights to really show people.
Yeah, get your green on and show how you're celebrating or how you're honoring.
I sent you both 3 pictures of our county buildings last night. just showing kind of what it is, and it's awesome. It's pretty cool.
It looks
the way
really cool.
Stands out.
I was going to have them put up there, but we'll have to do that later. The person who, never mind. But we'll try to get those put up there. But or better yet, just drive your happy self right in front of these buildings and see if you're. Might be want to wait till dark when it has a better impact on there.
Need to wait till dark.
But I imagine it's kind of, speaking of lights, because they've already kind of started setting up some of the Christmas lights here down in the city. So if you're looking here on the courthouse lawn, the most of the bottom, the trunk parts are all lit up. So it's kind of making that pathway cool. So take that white lights, pair it with the green from the court. That's going to be a really pretty downtown here for the next week
our
or two,
facility
or
maintenance
month.
guys, they turned off some of the exterior lights, but they also left on exterior lights, and the contrast is really good. The photo I took last night of the courthouse from Main Street, it's really striking. The War Memorial, which again is something
Apropos here,
to honor the veterans and their service and the ultimate sacrifice many of them made, of course, but it's not bathed in green light. So you have the brown, the colors there, and then behind it is this green courthouse. Is just really striking. I was just really impressed.
It is. It does look good. It looks very. I hope everyone.
We need someone like Juliana to take photos of it. She takes photos of everything, and every photo she takes is perfect.
Well, I got a funny feeling between now and then there's going to be some photos in her camera of the courthouse. And
we'll
all
have to do some
stuff.
challenges to her to do that for us. So.
But on the 9th of November, next week,
right,
we have a very nice ceremony. It'll be brief, about 30 minutes long.
Right.
And Bill and I have been working on that. We're going to have the representatives from the different services there.
Okay. And where's the
It's going to be in the front of the county courthouse.
Okay, right there by the Veterans Memorial.
Right on the front steps.
Right on the front steps. It'll be at noon.
Okay.
Noon on the 9th.
Okay.
NIMI will be there. They're going to have their color guard there. And
Awesome.
we'll have Tom Blake singing our national anthem.
Nobody sings the national anthem.
Well, I was going to say, as someone who, we're the ones who are doing the Veterans Parade with the American Legion and all that, Tom Blake will also, he's tradition. You can't have a veterans or really any patriotic or solemn ceremony without a Tom Blake leading us with some music. And so.
He also does God Bless the USA pretty well. Also.
He does.
Yes.
I've heard it a few times. Yeah, he does a good version of it.
Yeah.
And Tom's when he's not, preaching and doing his work there, he does pretty good music there too. So.
Yeah, very talented.
But we're going to do, like Mike said, we'll read the proclamation. We'll read the resolution that was passed last Thursday as well. So,
what time does that get underway next Wednesday?
Noon, 12 noon.
Well, high noon, right on the courthouse lawn steps there.
And the public's invited. Everyone's invited.
Yeah, come on out.
Because there's so many connections, as Bill mentioned earlier, to veterans, those on active duty as well as those have left service.
Maybe grab a sack lunch and sit out on the lawn.
Absolutely.
And watch it,
Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully the weather will be, knock on wood, cooperating with us next Wednesday. It's supposed to be like mid-upper 70s all next week, so I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, I checked it last week. It's only good so many days out, and then it starts to get kind of a little gray.
Yeah.
But it appeared that it was going to be really good, that all of our storms and stuff are going to hit prior to that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
we think we're going to have a great day.
Yeah.
And I would also like, while we're talking about all the veterans and honoring our veterans, remind folks too that vets, everybody look out for veterans too. If you know these vets that, we want to celebrate and honor veterans, but we also want to use this as time to remind our veterans that are in need that, there are services, there are ways if there's veterans out there, is anybody struggling, but, since we're focusing on veterans right now, if they're struggling, tell them there's resources. I know from personal experience, vets aren't always the most forthcoming when it comes to asking for help and things like that. We're stubborn as all get out sometimes. And so sometimes we need a little tough love. But if vets in need, please reach out to other vets. If you're not a vet yourself and I can't get through, talk to some vet friends and see if they can maybe talk to your vet friends and see if they can, but please keep look out for these folks.
Right. That's a big part of this Operation Greenlight is to show people not only are they returning to our communities, and we're thankful for all the work that they've done and the sacrifices they've made being away from their families, engaging on the battlefield, but sometimes they need some help. And it might be a monetary thing. It might be a health care thing. And, it might be baggage they're bringing home. And every community has things in place to assist veterans. and we want to be sure and highlight that and help people like me who've not been in the military to understand that we need to do all we can to make sure that they get any help they need and they get our support and, the pat on the back. Yep. People like Magel Duran, we were talking about Magel the other day. He has a whole series of transport vans to get veterans to places they need to be, whether it's a doctor's appointment or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That group, and
they can always use more volunteers, by the way.
And they're all military people. Mm-hmm. They never quit. You know, it's pretty amazing stuff.
They drive vets. It could be Albuquerque, could be Lubbock, could be El Paso, Artesia. I mean, wherever the vets need to go for their appointments, this group of volunteers do that, and they could use more volunteers. By the way, if you are a veteran that would like to ride in the Veterans Parade next Saturday, is that next week? Yeah, I guess it would be next Saturday, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Woo! Time's getting
coming
quick
right
on
up.
us. Yeah. Reach out to Magel and all the guys at the Veterans Transport. They're looking to pick up. They said they'll go to the assisted living places, wherever they need to go to pick up vets, to bring them and let them be a part of the parade here next Saturday. So reach out to them.
That's really neat.
Yeah, and you can reach them through the American Legion as well.
Yeah, American Legion Post 28 or 61 will get you in contact with him. No problem. He's with 28 officially, but we're all connected and we know people.
Just like you said earlier,
we'll make sure we get you in the right hands with all that good stuff too. So, it's a great organization there that does some great volunteer, and they're always looking for more volunteers. Matter of fact, there's a guy that named Don Weld he volunteers in a bunch of stuff and Bitter Lake and things, but he's one of the drivers there for the Veterans Transport, and they're always looking for new. Even if you just one day a week or one day a month, whatever it is, they could appreciate it, because every shift they can get someone to fill it. That's one less person has to do the other one.
Something else that they do that everybody doesn't know, Magel works very hard to make sure they have great vehicles to haul people around, make sure they're equipped properly, and Chaves County has assisted them with getting their vehicles purchased, picked up, procured, the whole part. But when they have a van that they're no longer using, they make sure that they get that to another community that needs to start something.
Sure.
Like this. So
I
don't know how many communities he's assisted by giving them just an old van to get them going. So they really are reaching out to everybody and trying to make this spread.
It's that ingenuity that a lot of veterans experienced in their time of service, I'm sure. So.
Yeah.
So please join us. Come on out to our event next Wednesday at high noon. Come as we celebrate our veterans. Come and see the courthouse and the Chaves County Admin Building in its green splendor for the next month here through the month of November.
Yep. And get a green light bulb, put it at your house or business.
Yeah.
Everybody post pictures to show the veterans the support.
We'd like to see that a whole neighborhood. And we got to do it because we've got a sweet spot but it's a very small window because the Christmas lights are going to be coming up.
That's what I was just thinking. Can Jesse McDaniel put green lights all over his neighborhood and then get him down and get his Christmas decorations?
Maybe use them like runway lights. He can get all the green, line it up to his house, and then his beacon of I'm pretty sure Excel Energy gets a nice stipend from Jesse every year. Yeah. We'll have a section just there for him on all that stuff. So, but very cool. And then, of course, if anybody has any questions, they can call or call the county, and
we'll be happy to tell you. We're going to make sure we get this all posted on Facebook. We've got flyers being made. We're going to post those in Dexter, Hagerman, Lake Arthur, because we want this to be a community-wide event, not just a downtown Roswell or anything. We want everyone to understand.
Can they come by, I guess, the county admin building to pick up the green light bulbs?
Well, we're going to hand those out at the event.
Okay. And so come out next Wednesday and get the light bulbs.
We're kind of limited on how many we were able to get in
first
short
come,
notice.
First serve, yeah.
But you can order those online. I'm sure that there's still some at Home Depot.
Yeah, I say the hardware stores usually have especially this time of year.
We're going to do this for a while, and deliveries are pretty quick. If they don't have them in town, you ought to be able to get one pretty easily. But we're going to hand out a good number to the crowd. Hopefully we'll run out. Hopefully we'll have that kind of an event. Yep. But we'll see. We'll see how far they go.
Absolutely. And of course, if you are a veteran, need any kind of resources, don't hesitate to reach out. We have two great American Legion posts. We have an awesome VFW post, all serving veterans, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
There is so many people behind that, other veterans organizations, other organizations that they just help people. They don't care, your Homes for Heroes, all the kinds of different organizations, and reach out to whichever ones you prefer, or talk to your religious folks. They'll help you equally as much. But if you're looking, roll into the New Mexico Department of Health, any of those, check in about, see what services you are entitled to as a veteran as well too.
And we've got veteran services over at 1606 South Main, or Southeast Main actually. So they provide. I have no idea what all they.
Yeah, but that might be your first stop if you're trying to get some in-depth, especially if you're trying to unlock benefits and things like that.
Yeah, they can help people get their DD-214s and stuff like that.
I
guess
tricky.
you guys know you always hang on to those because your records always get lost. But that's the one thing I understand about military is you keep your DD-214.
That was what they told me, and I'm sure Mike as well here. When you're going through your separation or retiring there, they give you the one copy of your DD-214. They tell you if you lose it, this is it. So they say make copies. They even recommend you register them with the clerks, like your local clerk's office.
Yeah.
That way it's a public document. Therefore, if you do lose it, you can get a copy relatively easily. Now, that being said, if you do lose it, you can recover it. But it does take a little bit of magic you gotta get a hold of the right people and stuff. So if you are having that, if you did lose talk to a vet rep or something, they can help you navigate through that process. But it does. And for those that just got one or have one, don't lose them. Hold on to them. You'll be amazed how many times I've been out 20 plus years and I've had to pull it out a few times to things like VA loans, my just simple stuff like your driver's license or your like if you want veteran plates, stuff like that kind of gets you. Which now I got to do the veterans. I didn't know you could do that. Put the V on your license plate or not your license plate, your driver's license. As a veteran, you need, and then I didn't know that till 4 years ago when I got my plates, and they were like, "Oh, we can get you." So,
are your speeding tickets half price if you get a V on your driver's license?
I don't know. We'll find out.
I figured you would know, Mike.
No, but it's kind of handy when like if you want to get discounts and things, and people are like, "Oh, you have to
veterans
your veteran
discount." You just show them
and
your
if you don't
driver's
have
license. That's actually
and I didn't retire military, so I don't have a retired military ID. I just got my old, and so putting that V on there that makes it on an official ID, so it makes it easier.
It doesn't cost you anything when you do that.
Yeah,
so
exactly, and that way you can flash it. It's just like showing an ID card or something like that.
Right.
So it carries the same weight. So otherwise, I'm like, I'll take you out back. You can see my license plate on my car. It's got, that I had to show official paperwork to get that. So
you can get into Sam's Club if you have a V on your
That's
license.
right.
Driver's license.
But yeah, it's a good thing to take advantage of. Get discounts here and there, and every vet, I encourage you, take advantage of them. You've earned your service. You got yelled at for a lot of stuff, or had to peel potatoes, or had to do other things to take care of this. You deserve those discounts, and you deserve all that.
Yes,
you had to paint rocks.
But more importantly, you were prepared to do whatever it took to protect the rest of us. So.
Absolutely. So, Mike, or is there anything that we wanted to mention here that we just skipped or didn't get a chance to talk about?
Well, there's also little known but not much talked about, but it's also the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War era.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, our federal government wants to recognize all those that served in that era. And I've worked with Magellan and Tony with that post in the American Legion. What I'm attempting to do for this area is to identify people that served during that period of time. And there's a small gift that's free, and you don't have to show any proof or anything else, but we just need a number so I can obtain these.
Okay.
They're little Vietnam veteran pins, and they're very, very nice.
Okay.
And what I've asked our American Legion to do is give me a number so I know how many pins to order, and I'll be happy to disperse that back to the American Legion or whatever agency that wants to have those, or even call me directly at the EDC, and I just need a number so I can order them.
Okay.
And I want to make sure every Vietnam era vet receives one. Again, there's no cost to the veteran. It's just a matter of I just need to know
So obviously our Legionnaires and our VFW members reach out to Mike, but if you, individual groups as well. If you're like, hey, we got a whole group of Vietnam vets over here, reach out to Mike and let's get you on the list here. So
well, and there's more than just one pin for the vets. There's also one for vet families. There's also there's like 4 or 5 categories.
Any veteran knows that the family is as much a service as the actual service person that signed their name on the dotted line.
Wow. Absolutely, it's they're all actually one family. It's all part of it, right? So, but yeah, happy to do that. Again, there's no cost to anyone. Believe it or not, it's free, which is kind of remarkable these days. But more importantly, it's a way to recognize and finally thank our Vietnam era veterans for serving and taking care of our country. Because as you recall, back in that day, I think you might be old enough, Mike, that you remember that was the first war brought to our TV sets at home when we were kids.
It was on the 6 o'clock news every night,
and we watched that stuff as young people, and we were absolutely But anyway,
it wasn't a popular war, and and let's face it, we did not honor our troops when they came home after Vietnam, and quite frankly, I think we need to spend the rest of their lives making good for that. Yeah. And that's, thank goodness, it's about 10, 20 years too late, but they are now getting on that and saying, you know what, we kind of did them dirty. We need to make good for that. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are no longer with us that don't get to experience the make good part of that. But because I would imagine, I have no numbers, and I'm just spitballing ideas out here, but I would imagine there's as many Vietnam veteran deaths after that war as probably the killed in action, because of suicide or mental health or whatever else after that war. And some probably triggered directly, but I bet a large percentage of those indirectly triggered by that. So, but that's the lesson we're learning, and I think because of that, our military and everything else is now taking the mental health and PTSD and that side of military a lot more serious. Unfortunately, the Vietnam vets are the ones that had to teach us that lesson.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to recognize that, and they can just call Tony at the post and tell him, hey, it's I just need a number from Tony, and I'll just order the pins, and we'll get them to him. So
absolutely,
no, it's not ceremonial. It's just a matter of giving them a small token of appreciation. And that's what really it's all about. So happy to do that for the community.
And come on. We're military people. It's one more thing. If you don't have coins, use pins. And when you're with your buddies, you get out of paying for drinks. So nothing else use it for that. No, it means much more than that. But that's a military mindset. That's just how it is. And so, but please join us next Wednesday on the Chavez County Courthouse lawn steps.
High noon.
Come on out. Well, like we said, while supplies last, they'll be giving away the green light bulbs. But come and hear our short little ceremony honoring our veterans and honoring those that have made that have made sacrifices.
And regardless of Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, there will be someone there to receive the plaque on behalf of your
branch of service. Very good.
So you can group up and
throw
rocks at the.
That's right.
At the competition, whatever you guys do to have good.
Public will celebrate each other. It's the mingling among the crowd. It's like, who let you guys in?
Good wholesome fun. Chavez County Courthouse.
Why is the name on the back of your pants? You can't remember who you are. All that kind of stuff.
Air Force didn't do that.
Yeah, we didn't have it. That was Navy.
Any Navy people? I'm neutral in this. Don't hunt me down.
That's right.
These two.
They got their whole things too, and so. But anyway, it's all good fun.
Yeah, we'd sure love to see a lot of folks out there to recognize the different branches of service that served our nation.
Absolutely.
And that's really what it's all about.
Yeah,
and that's why it's a brief ceremony, and we hope to see a lot of folks out there.
Yeah, come out.
Yeah, it's not about the ceremony. That's why we're trying to keep it brief. We just want it to be about the people that served and the idea. So.
And I invite you, all of our veterans, to please participate in all the school veteran ceremonies, and obviously the Saturday after Veterans Day, the city event that'll be taking place, put on by our American Legions and our VFW posts and all of our other volunteers there. So,
and also, Mike, the same day, and it's a little bit of conflict with our event at noon at 11 o'clock at the university at Eastern New Mexico University here in Roswell. They have a ribbon cutting ceremony at 11 o'clock for the new Veterans Center.
Oh, great!
Learning Center at 11 o'clock. And you can make both. I plan on doing both. So I think it would be a nice touch if we had some veterans out there to take advantage of that.
Sure.
And see that opportunity, because they've reopened. They are reopening that center, and I think that's a good piece for the veterans in our community.
I hope every veteran that is currently a student there at ENMUR will be there and will utilize that facility right out the gate here. So that'd be good.
Yeah.
So that's at 11 next Wednesday,
right at the college,
at the campus. There. So
Mm-hmm.
very good. Well, gentlemen, appreciate the visit. Thanks for getting up early and hanging out with us.
Thanks for letting us in on such short
notice.
notice.
Oh, no problem.
We appreciate you.
What's your official burrito routine on a Wednesday?
On a Wednesday, I hope that it means Mike Espiritu is going to buy the burritos. That's what I think is I think that's the protocol.
When he comes in on his Friday visit, him and his wife go have burritos and everything before they come. But so
that's our date day.
Well, I think
my wife's easy to.
Well, I think you're gonna have to buy him the burrito today.
Probably so. That's okay. I'm good with that.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate
thank you
your
for
support.
everything you guys are doing. We'll see you here next time. Okay.
You bet.
Thanks a lot.
All right. It is 7:51. Let us pause for local news. Your Kim Commando update. A couple commercials. How many political? Oh, just one. Not too bad. So, a little lighter fare this morning. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Now your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. A 4-year Roswell police investigation into the killing of a Roswell man who disappeared in 2018 and whose body has never been found resulted in the filing Wednesday of a murder charge against another man who is currently serving time in federal prison. 35-year-old Alfonso Reyes Vasquez Jr. is charged with first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and other crimes for the fatal shooting of 39-year-old Freddie Bursain in September of 2018. The murder happened inside Vasquez's home in the 500 block of South Kansas Avenue in Roswell. Police have said Vasquez shot Bursain because he felt the man said something disrespectful to his girlfriend. A man from Mexico was killed in a truck crash in Eddy County on Friday. Authorities say it happened on Potash Mine Road, east of Carlsbad. 30-year-old Miguel Sierra Calderon was killed when his Kenworth semi crossed the center line into oncoming traffic and struck a Peterbilt semi headed west. State police are still investigating the crash. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
In 2008, not even 15 years ago, MySpace was the world's leading social media website. Today, it's gone. And if history repeats itself, as it often does, Facebook is headed down the same path. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by T-Mobile. Their advanced network now goes farther than ever before. Visit T-Mobile.com/55 today. For so many years, nothing could harm Facebook. Not the endless scandals, the known terrorist groups recruiting, collecting money, false news and disinformation planted by foreign governments, and algorithms designed to appeal to our very worst human traits and keep us coming back. But the once invulnerable Facebook is in serious trouble. Its value has plummeted by almost $1 trillion. Its growing irrelevance is losing users left and right. And behind it all is founder Mark Zuckerberg and his misguided obsession to build Meta, a sad, cartoonist virtual world that nobody wants. Mismanagement, overspending, irrelevance, sounds like MySpace to me. Be sure to try my new daily podcast for more tech smarts called Kim Commando today. Data breaches are at an all-time high as cyber criminals find new ways to hack into email accounts and steal personal information. That's why I use StartMail. StartMail is a secure email provider that protects my privacy. Every email can be encrypted or protected with a password, which means hackers and big tech can't read, scan, analyze, or sell my personal information. And when you delete an email, it's gone forever. StartMail is backed by the world's most robust privacy laws. In fact, StartMail uses their own servers, not Amazon's. Plus, if you're ever required to provide an email but want to protect your identity, StartMail can generate unlimited disposable email addresses that can be deleted at any time. Switching is easier than ever. Transfer all your emails and contacts with just a few clicks. Say goodbye to big tech email providers for good. Start securing your email privacy with StartMail today and get 50% off your first year. Go to startmail.com/Kim. That's startmail.com/Kim.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Got a cold front on the way, so we'll be cooler by tomorrow. In the meantime, mid to upper 70s and very windy today with sunshine. Overnight, some clouds rolling in, our low dropping to about 40, and then windy and sunny on Friday, but a lot cooler. Our high will stay right around 60. Then the weekend looks pretty good, sunny and 70 on Saturday, mid-70s and sunny Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Report. Well, it was a heartbreak for the Goddard Rockets boys soccer team yesterday as their season came to an end, and it only ended in the state semifinals, one step short of the championship match, and Goddard fell to a familiar foe. Lovington won by a score of 1-0 on Wednesday. It was a lot closer than last time they played in Lovington when the Wildcats won 6-1. Lovington was the top seed, and Goddard finishes with a 19-5 overall record, so congratulations on the season. The state cross-country championships are taking place this weekend. If you're heading up to Albuquerque, you head on over to Albuquerque Academy where all of the races will take place. It starts with the 5A girls at 9 in the morning and ends with the 3A boys at 3:15. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. Stocks fell sharply after Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell signaled that interest rates may need to go even higher than previously thought in order to tame the worst inflation in decades. The Federal Reserve raised interest rates by 0.75 of a percentage point again on Wednesday and said its battle against inflation will require borrowing costs to rise further, yet signaled it may be nearing an inflection point in what has become the swiftest tightening of U.S. monetary policy in 40 years. Demand for new vehicles in the United States remains strong despite rising interest and loan rates, the chief executive of Subaru Corporation said Wednesday. Analysts say Americans are feeling a slowdown in the economy, but car sales are strong. The Agriculture Department announced more than $223 million in grants and loans Wednesday to help small and mid-sized meat processing plants expand as part of a larger $1 billion effort. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
Jennifer here from Trustmark Roofing, and I know you've heard me say that you can trust Trustmark, but I want you to know what that looks like in real life. A few years ago, we installed a beautiful new roof for an older woman who was recently widowed. She was an artist and colors were really important to her. So when she said she didn't like the color of a brand new roof, we took that seriously. She had picked the color and signed off on it, but I just kept thinking, if she's going to walk into her house every day and be disappointed, then we're just going to redo it. So we did. We ripped that beautiful new roof off and replaced it with a slightly different color, and she was thrilled. Yes, it cost us quite a bit of money to make her happy, but I want you to know you can trust Trustmark to make it exactly right every time. If you have any roofing needs, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
I'm Michelle Garcia Holmes, and I'm running for United States Congress. As a former policewoman, I put on my Kevlar vest, uniform, gun belt, grabbed my 12-gauge shotgun, jumped into my police car, and hit the city streets to keep you safe. I want to do the same for you in Washington. I'm asking for your vote on November 8th because our families deserve safe cities, a secure border, and lower gas prices.
Donate today at GarciaHolmesForCongress.com. Paid for by Michelle Garcia Holmes for Congress.
The tool used to measure your feet at the shoe store is called a Brannock device. The person that measures your feet at home for no reason is called a creep with a foot fetish. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 7:58. Stay tuned. Next hour, about 8:15 or so, we're going to have the folks from Xcel Energy join us. Wes Reeves and Mike McLeod give us an update on what's happening out with Xcel Energy, get an update on some of the stuff. Of course, we get into the holidays and all of that good stuff. That'll tis the season with the lights and all the fun stuff here. So we'll be joined by those two gentlemen here in just a little bit. Do want to remind you that this Friday night, beginning at 7:30 p.m., the Roswell Community Little Theater will be having their next improvisational evening out there, Mission Improbable. That's going to be at 7:30. If you love the show, Whose Line Is It Anyway? It's very much in that vein. Come on out. It's only $8, and it's a fun night of laughs, family friendly. Bring the whole family out. And this Friday night at the Roswell Community Little Theater. You can get tickets online, roswelltheater.com, or at the door on Friday.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Bamboo plants can grow up to 36 inches in a day. So if you're told you're growing like a weed, you could say, no, I'm growing like a bamboo.
I'm Rich Thomason. With the all-important midterm elections fast approaching, President Biden spoke last evening at Washington's Union Station, hoping to convince voters that it's Trump Republicans who will be on the ballot next week. And while accusing Mr. Trump of rejecting the outcome of the 2020 election,
he refuses to accept the will of the people.
Absent was any mention of the Democrat candidates who, down through the years, have blamed their losses on supposedly rigged elections. Correspondent Bernie Bennett with reaction from the GOP side of the aisle.
House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy had this reaction on Twitter. Quote, President Biden is trying to divide and deflect at a time when America needs to unite because he can't talk about his policies that have driven up the cost of living. The American people aren't buying it.
As evidenced by the polls, which continue to point to a growing red wave in next week's balloting, one election website forecasting that Republicans will regain control of the Senate as well as the House.
The nonpartisan election handicapper 538 now predicts Republicans will win enough seats to retake the Senate. It's the first time the site's primary Senate forecast model favors Republicans since July. Democrats had gained a bump in momentum over the issue of abortion after the High Court struck down Roe v. Wade in June. Since then, voter concerns have shifted heavily toward Biden administration and Democrat policies they blame for high inflation, a border crisis, and surging crime. Bob Agnew reporting.
Stocks hit the skids on Wall Street yesterday following the Federal Reserve's latest interest rate hike and expectations it will not be the last increase. The Fed raising its key short-term interest rate by 75 basis points. A steep increase, the fourth this year. It's aimed at reining in surging inflation. The sell-off continues this morning on Wall Street. The Dow down 400 points. The Nasdaq off 196, and the S&P is trading 59 points lower. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Charlie Dombeck here from Key City Capital. As a practicing CPA for nearly 30 years, I have found that 80% of your ability to grow your wealth is dependent upon two factors: taxes and investment performance. At Key City Capital, we improve investment performance by diversifying capital into off-market investment opportunities in passive rental real estate and alternatives like asset-backed lending. We recover dollars that clients unnecessarily pay in the form of income taxes, creating a lifetime annuity of savings. We are a sponsor of passive, affordable single and multifamily residential rental investments, which are located in Sunbelt landlord-friendly states. These investments are the top choices in a rising interest rate and inflationary environment. They represent a store of value, protecting your capital from market volatility. Learn how we at Key City Capital can help you ultimately grow your wealth rapidly. Connect with me at keycitycapital.com or give me a call at 817-912-1569.
At least a half dozen ships carrying grain from Ukraine have left Black Sea ports a day after Russia rejoined a scheme to allow such exports. The BBC's Catherine Biarhenga is in Kiev.
This is the news that the United Nations, other countries have been calling for this important grain deal to go ahead. The Ukrainian officials said they expect 8 ships loaded with food from wheat, corn, soybeans to leave Ukraine today and to travel on to different parts of the world. So this is a welcome step. Russia had pulled out of the agreement over the weekend, saying that a special corridor that had been set up for the transfer of the grain had been used by Ukraine to attack its navy forces.
Israeli forces killed a Palestinian in the West Bank today, while a Palestinian was shot dead after stabbing a police officer in East Jerusalem. The violence flaring as Israel tallies the final votes in national elections. Townhall.com. The Agriculture Department announcing more than $223 million in grants and loans.
This will help small and mid-sized meat processing plants expand to help boost competition in the highly concentrated industry. The effort is expected to add more than 1,100 jobs, mostly in rural areas where the plants are located. The Biden administration wants to add meat processing capacity to give farmers and ranchers more options of where to sell the animals they raise, while hopefully reducing prices for consumers by increasing competition because the biggest companies now have so much power over pricing. John Scott reporting.
North Korea adding to its barrage of recent weapons tests, firing at least 3 missiles, including an ICBM that prompted Japan's government to issue evacuation alerts and temporarily halt train service. Today's launches, the latest in a series of North Korea's weapons tests, recent months that have raised tension in the region. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The Deuce.
Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Thursday. We made it all the way.
Did indeed.
Yeah.
I feel like the hoodie was a good choice today.
Well, right now,
I'm on a 2-shot.
It's going to be like 75 later.
Yeah,
so you're going to be hoodie.
I can strip it down.
Yes.
Strip it down.
Tomorrow you might want it all day.
Down. Yeah, tomorrow.
High is like 59.
I feel like tomorrow is the perfect day to break out the long sleeve T-shirt and the hoodie.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know. I might go all LST tomorrow too.
Yeah, long sleeve tee and.
Yeah, I don't know about hoodie.
No,
because I'm already hot.
But you can always take it off, man.
I know, but I'm hot as soon as I walk in here.
I need to get me a hoodie with a zipper. The pullover is kind of annoying.
Yeah. Although what comes with a lot of pullovers that I love is the kangaroo pouch.
Oh yeah, the dual pocket.
You lose that with the zipper.
You do, but you know, certain sacrifices must be made for the beauty of just.
Yeah.
And you're exposed.
Yeah.
To the world.
Yeah. It depends on my mood. Some days I just want the pouch.
Yeah. I do like having my pouch.
Yeah.
My little papoose.
Yeah. It's kind of nice. Handy.
Yeah.
It's not just for hands, but your wallet, phone, keys, all that
Well,
stuff.
I hate when I get in my car and I have my phone in my pocket. So I got to do this like little dance where I have to like hitch this way and get into the pocket to get with the kangaroo pouch.
It's right there.
It's right there.
Wow.
That's right. Wow. Good stuff.
Yeah, you can't do that with the other ones. So it's way more handy. But happy Thursday. Hope you're all having a wonderful day so far. The daylight is hit. I would say sun's come out. Daylight's hit.
Sun's coming out.
Yeah, there's some fog and what have you, clouds out there this morning, but that's supposed to burn off and it's supposed to get warmer. So, but it's going to get windy too.
Yep.
So that's where your hoodie will help because then of course you got a hat and so you'll be all right.
Yeah, the hat and hoodie combo though, that's the best.
Yeah. But you can
over the headphones,
you can cinch it down. You either look like the Unabomber or you're about to enter a poker tournament. One of the
We're good. We're good.
Yeah. How do you hide your game face for poker? This right here is what I do. I just now you talk to a hat and eyeballs.
I'm gonna fold, Jim. I'm gonna fold.
Right.
What are you even poker facing then?
I'm showing you my hand under my hoodie. Oh, so I promised this last hour, so I better I should allot time to do this.
Yes, give us the follow-up.
So, for those that are our regular tuners in about this time, we were talking yesterday about my Uncle Jimmy, who passed away about 3-4 weeks ago. And my cousins put out a unique obituary for where it was garden variety as far as
Is
preceded
survived
death
by yada,
blah
yada.
blah blah.
Right.
But there's a part where he's talking about how he's a longtime fan of all Washington D.C. area sports, particularly the Redskins. And other than health and happiness for his family, his dying wish was for Dan Snyder to sell the franchise, to sell the Commanders. Well, that obit was picked up by the Fox 5 affiliate in D.C.
Yep.
And they aired it Tuesday night on their 11 o'clock news.
Right.
Well, yesterday, news broke early about Dan Snyder hiring Bank of America to sell the team,
which I love. I feel like that's just that's magic.
So that prompted the Fox 5 affiliate in Washington D.C. to call my cousin back and do a follow-on story about, and they mention, and I quote, they should name the new stadium James Darr Stadium after my uncle.
Come on.
I ain't gonna lie. This is kind of funny. My uncle, all these years, and now he passes away and gets his 15 minutes of fame.
It would warm the subcockles of his heart to know that the stadium was even like a locker room was named after him.
Yeah. Or something.
The James Darr Memorial jockstrap receptacle.
So whoever buys it, if it's Bezos or whoever, just give my uncle something. Little something.
Slap a little something on there.
Something on there. But anyway, I thought since I played the first one yesterday for everybody to put what I'm thinking will be a bow on this, but who knows what's going to happen next.
I swear, he needs to get an agent. He needs to take this to Kimmel.
Yeah.
Milk that 15 for all you can, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. So
maybe you get a trip to SeaWorld out of it.
Here is the follow-on article, or a follow-on news story on the Fox 5 affiliate with my uncle, or actually my cousin doing the talking, but about my uncle. So enjoy.
James Darr. We heard from James earlier this morning, and this was one of the more bizarre stories of the week. James' father recently passed away, and this was one of the more eye-catching obituaries. James, good to see you this morning. James's dad, longtime fan of the team, lifelong fan of the team. But in the obituary, you put in your dad's words that he wished for nothing more than for Dan Snyder to sell the Washington Commanders. Is he speaking from beyond the grave here? Because if so, I feel like we need a James Darr Field at whatever the new stadium may be.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's really been incredible. The article and the story last night went around and everybody I knew saw it and everybody said, your dad's a legend, you're a legend. And then this breaks this morning and my phone goes crazy. If you don't believe, you're like, what other explanation is there? Maybe it's just a big coincidence. I don't know.
Well, listen, James, first of all, condolences for your loss. Second of all, what do you think your dad's reaction would be today?
I think it would just be relief. It's just like a huge weight off your shoulders, this thing that's been nagging at the city, at the fan base for over a decade, knowing that this was not going to work out for Dan and just wasn't going to be a winner, to just know that there's a bright future ahead.
Now, moving on, if this is the case, if this is going to actually happen, what does this do for you and your family as far as being fans of this team? Because a lot of people that we've been talking to this morning, obviously they're excited because I'm being honest, they're kind of tired of the Snyder regime here.
Yeah, it definitely renews the love. The love never goes away, but it makes you think, well, maybe I'll try to go to a game, or I'll go to an away game, or buy this merch, or have your children wear the team apparel, that you really might not have before, because what is there to root for,
James, we talked about Washington fans being some of the most loyal in the league, and I think your dad is a perfect example of that. Not loving the ownership, the management potentially, but still loving the team itself. Did that change? Did you see that change in him over the last 20 years or so?
Absolutely. It was, we grew up on football and some of the great years in the Joe Gibbs era and all of that. And that was the number one sport, in the house. It was the most important season. And as time went on, it became a little, less and less important because you had a little less hope and you focused on the other teams and the other owners that you thought were doing the right things, for their fans and for the community and to put a winner on the field. So it would be great to have that back again.
James, we appreciate you joining us. Again, condolences for the loss of your father, but posthumously, maybe doing some amazing work here for so many fans across the DMV. Thank you, James, for joining us this morning.
You hear that? Posthumously, he may be doing some good work here.
I just like to imagine that Dan Snyder was laying in his California king bed with his bowl and branch bed sheets and comforter.
I want to switch on over to Doug Eldridge right
now. And he's just flipping channels, and he stops on the Fox 5 News, and he sees this story, and he lets it finish, and he just goes, reaches for his phone and says, "Get me Bank of America."
I'd like to think
that one last nail in the coffin. Pardon the pun.
I would like to think it happened Back to the Future style, where instead of Michael J. Fox having to put the Walkman on his younger version of his dad and the spacesuit to convince him to, Bruce Jimmy showed up in Dan Snyder's bedroom in the middle of the night and said, "Dude,
sell the team, sell the team.
You'll be visited by 3 ghosts."
The ghost of Uncle Jimmy.
If all this happens,
dude, the legend of Uncle Jimmy needs to become a thing in DC lore.
I'm hoping, and I think
the legend of Uncle Jimmy. He appeared before Dan Snyder one dark and stormy night and said, "Ooh, sell the team."
As a glowing orb. I'm thinking,
do it now while inflation is up. You'll get the biggest profit margin.
Yeah, I'm thinking a lot of people don't like the commander's name anyway. We're not going back to Redskins. They just can't. Mm-hmm. So, excuse me. Just name the team the Uncle Jimmys.
Sell to Elon Musk and call it the Twitters.
The Washington Uncle Jimmys.
The Washington Uncle Jimmys.
All right, let's pause and get going here. But that was the latest on my Uncle Jimmy's there.
That is absolutely fantastic.
For folks that were wondering there.
You imagine your legacy is going to be established in a specific way, and it's just nice to know it happens the way you think it's going to.
Well, if y'all knew Uncle Jimmy, you'd know how to.
I feel like I do now.
Yeah. He's just it's so fun. It's actually one of the coolest things is of his life and his love of sports, and this happens after he dies.
If nothing else,
pretty cool.
You know what would be apropos? At the bar at the stadium that they build, at least name a drink after him. I feel like that would be apropos.
Sure.
The Uncle Jimmy.
And it could be bottom shelf liquor. It doesn't have to be expensive because that's where he would be drinking.
Right.
Yeah, he only drink the top shelf if you give it to him for free.
Thinking like a Moscow Mule, but with gin. You can call it a Juniper Jimmy.
Yeah. Nothing too fancy, mind you. It is simple. All right, it is 8:17. Let's get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Got a cold front on the way, so we'll be cooler by tomorrow. In the meantime, mid to upper 70s and very windy today with sunshine. Overnight, some clouds rolling in, our low dropping to about 40, and then windy and sunny on Friday, but a lot cooler. Our high will stay right around 60. Then the weekend looks pretty good, sunny and 70 on Saturday, mid 70s and sunny Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 55 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity's still holding at 90%. Winds out of the south. They're actually calm at the moment. Areas of fog this morning before 9, otherwise mostly sunny for the day. So this fog and what have you will burn off. Expect a high of 75. Winds are going to be up out of the south 15 to 20 this morning. Later today, increasing 20 to 25, gusting as high as 35 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy with an overnight low of 44 degrees. Southwest winds 15 to 20. They'll drop down 10 to 15 after midnight tonight. For you Friday, mostly sunny. Highs near 60, 59 officially, so a lot cooler. Winds will remain breezy tomorrow out of the west, 10 to 15, then picking up 20 to 25, gusting as high as 35 miles per hour later in the day tomorrow. Tomorrow night, mostly clear, overnight low of 37, west winds 5 to 15. And then things warm up nicely. Back for the weekend, sunny 71 on Saturday, And for Sunday, sunny skies, 77 for the high there. So the cold temps short-lived. All right, it is 18 minutes after 8. We're going to take a 3-minute break, and then we'll talk with Wes Reeves and Mike McLeod from Excel Energy on the other side. Don't go away.
Buying a sewing machine from a big box store or online might seem like a bargain, but in this case, you really do get what you pay for. Just the machine. No lessons, no help with figuring out why it isn't working the way you expect, and no one close to fix it. Buying locally from an authorized retailer may cost a little more, but in the end, it will save you time, money, and aggravation. Come see me, Chris Ann, at So Easy Sewing, 200 East College Boulevard in Roswell, and let me show you why it pays to shop local. So Easy Sewing. You've never had it so easy.
Hi, I'm New Mexico's 5th District Division I Judge, Eileen Reardon. This district covers Chavez, Lee, and Eddy counties. I want to thank all my supporters who believe in me and who have or will vote for me. I have integrity, honesty, and have consistently, to the best of my abilities, performed my judicial duties, and I want to continue as your 5th District Judge. As a voter, it's your privilege to go vote. You can vote early until November 5th or on Election Day, November 8th. Show your support by voting. I'm 5th District Judge Eileen Reardon, and I thank you.
Paid for by the Committee-elect Judge Reardon, Steve McCutcheon, Treasurer.
I'm Judge Reardon, and I approve this message.
How often do you think your way is the best way? Every time, right? How often do you find out that your way isn't the best way, but you keep trying to make it right even when you know it isn't? More than we would like to admit, don't you agree? In Proverbs 3, Solomon says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." Have you been relying on your own wisdom to live your life, but things just don't seem to be going very well? Are you lacking peace and contentment in your life? Maybe it's time to look to the Lord's wisdom to guide your life instead of your own. I'm not saying your life will be perfect when you follow Jesus, but you can find peace and contentment no matter what the circumstance. He leads you in the right way when you follow him every time. And even when life is hard, he will give you the strength and love to make it through.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Jennifer here from Trustmark Roofing, and I know you've heard me say that you can trust Trustmark, but I want you to know what that looks like in real life. A few years ago, we installed a beautiful new roof for an older woman who was recently widowed. She was an artist, and colors were really important to her. So when she said she didn't like the color of a brand new roof, we took that seriously. She had picked the color and signed off on it, but I just kept thinking, if she's going to walk into her house every day and be disappointed, then we're just going to redo it. So we did. We ripped that beautiful new roof off and replaced it with a slightly different color, and she was thrilled. Yes, it cost us quite a bit of money to make her happy, but I want you to know you can trust Trustmark to make it exactly right every time. If you have any roofing needs, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. More than 50% of Americans fall asleep on their sides. That's way better than falling asleep on someone else's side. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 22 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from Excel Energy, we got Wes Reeves and Mike McLeod joining us this morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Mike.
Good
How are
morning.
you?
Good morning. Now, I'm going to do this on the air just because people... It's McLeod, right?
Right.
I'm saying it right because people have told me, no, you're not saying it right. I'm like, well, that's how everybody else says it.
Most people pronounce it McLeod. I answer to a lot of different pronunciations, trust me.
Because I was like, I think I'm doing it right.
Somewhere we got the Scottish pronunciation, so
but
no, you got it just right.
Although, probably would be a lot easier if it was McLeod, huh?
It would
people can at least wrap their head around that saying. But it is Mike McLeod. But thank you guys for spending some time with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
How's life at Excel Energy? I know, it's always busy, changing, and obviously the world we live in now, you guys are always busy and cutting edge and, trying to meet the needs.
We made it through a hot summer and looking forward to cooler weather. And that's one of the things I wanted Wes to talk about. He's always got good tips for people
energy
in the wintertime.
Energy savings like that. And and we're about that point. And we're right in that perfect time of year where you actually don't need air conditioning part of the day.
Right.
But if you have like your timers and your set, your fancy thermostats nowadays, it kind of keeps houses at the temps you want them when you're there or not there.
Right.
So I don't know if that impacts one way or another, but we're now at that point where ACs are like maybe using heat in the morning or at night and using air conditioning in the afternoon, which that can be kind of I imagine a little bit of wreaking havoc.
I think it's a great time for
bills.
A smart thermostat or a programmable. They're kind of different terms there, but a smart thermostat is really something you can control it from anywhere through your phone or tablet or whatever, and that really does help you. First of all, to stay comfortable,
right?
Because as you say, this time of year, you never know where it needs to be set, but it really saves a lot of money as well. And
Absolutely.
I always remind people, if you really want to save money on heating and cooling, you start with your insulation and the way you manage your thermostat. Those are the two big things to watch. And we can't always do stuff about insulation. Maybe we live in an old house and we haven't done a remodel yet, but thermostats are pretty cheap. You can get something that will help you there.
Yeah, you can
easily.
go to a hardware store and pick one up, and and if you've got a slight modicum of handyman skills, you can put it in.
Well,
yourself.
I've heard someone talking about that. The instructions are so easy these days. With these new types of self installations. So I haven't tried it myself yet, but I don't know.
Well, I say slight because I know I put it in myself and I got it. I thought I had working right, but I guess I didn't.
Yeah.
Someone had to fix what I did.
Yeah,
we
find that as well. I usually get somebody to do it for me, but for sure. This is a great time of year, though. You're not having to cool much or heat much, so it kind of gives us all a little break from the higher summer electric bills.
Sure.
So, but as we head into winter, when we're doing a lot more heating, then we'll try to remind people to pay attention to their thermostats for sure.
Absolutely. Hopefully it'll I want a moist winter but a mild winter. Can we put in that order?
I've ordered that myself, so I don't want any ice. I don't want that extreme cold that we had.
Yeah.
We had Winter Storm Uri in 21, and actually we kind of had another spell last year. I don't know if you remember, in February, I believe, right? The 1st of February. February's a bad month, in this part of the world. It can get really cold, but, I always remind, and I'll get asked a lot, what is Xcel Energy doing? Because people are kind of spooked about that. And lately we've had a lot of headlines in New Mexico about we don't have enough power. And so I always remind folks, I'll take the time here to do it, that we're on a separate grid. So here in Roswell, and eastern New Mexico, we're not really on the same power grid the rest of New Mexico is on.
Okay.
And that's kind of something people don't know. And the same
So
for
are
us.
we a little isolated from that a bit?
Yes
or?
and no.
Okay.
So for years we were sort of our own island. And then we actually connect back to the east through something called the Southwest Power Pool.
Okay.
And so we're part of a multi-state power sharing market.
Okay.
And, we're not part of the Western grid. So you kind of jump over just really west of here, you're in the Western United States grid.
So do we kind of follow a little closer to what Texas is doing on their power needs and things?
Let's say it this way, not the rest of Texas, thank goodness, but the North Panhandle, South Plains of Texas are part of the same grid that eastern New Mexico is.
By comparison, just to give people, for the weather side of things, it's almost the same way because like when we get weather alerts and the weather storms and all, here in this part of our state, it comes from Midland. Most of the rest of the state gets from Albuquerque. But here, I think Roswell might still fall under Albuquerque, but when you get down to Artesia and that area, that starts getting into Midland.
Yeah, our weather patterns follow Permian Basin a lot the same. The majority of Texas is in what's called ERCOT system. So they have their own grid just within the state of Texas. The part that we serve around the Lubbock area and up through Amarillo is still tied to the Southwest Power Pool.
Gotcha.
So we have companies that run all the way through the Midwest that we have the ability to share power. Wes mentioned Winter Storm Uri. We were really in a great position. We weren't in as near as bad a position as the state of Texas because we had the ability to buy and sell power within the Southwest Power Pool.
Gotcha. So you kind of have a different client list or
whole different setup. And we have a lot of reserves that they don't have, say, in the ERCOT part of Texas, or even into western New Mexico. I mean, they're kind of struggling with it. They've got enough power, but they're like, we need an extra cushion of reserves, and that cushion is not where it used to be.
Gotcha.
And I think it's where you're hearing a lot of the concern. It's not that we don't have enough power.
It's the backup power.
It's the backup. It's like something goes wrong.
The reserves aren't as ready as they used to be.
And so they're really concerned about reserve power. And but in this part of New Mexico, we're in much better shape with reserves than they are the rest. And so I always like to tell people that, and it's confusing as all get out. But,
Sure.
But we're in a good spot.
And I know y'all couldn't answer this either way, because I know we're starting to get political on all this, but I'm kind of curious, because you always hear, obviously, Excel Energy, you guys are on the cutting edge of trying to provide power, always looking for cleaner, smarter ways to do things. That's just common sense to do it that way. But do you guys deal with a lot of pressure from the government entities on? Because I'm all for doing flipping to solar and all of that, but it's got to. What it's replacing has to put out the equal output.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
The lights have to stay on.
Yeah,
right?
And so, how do you guys juggle
Mike,
that side of things?
That's always the balance, the trick. And I think we've done as good as most any company. And, it started out, legislatively, we were mandated to get a certain percentage of our generation as renewable. 20% by 2020 was the original goal.
Sure.
And we're actually at about 40% now. So we've been able to slowly and really carefully, with a lot of thought, of add renewables at a reasonable cost. The last 2 wind farms we added they generate power even below our coal cost.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been able to continue to work toward our carbon reduction goals. But at the same time, we recognize we have to have spinning mass. We've got to have generation that we can dispatch. With wind and solar, you're at the mercy of the sun and the wind. You know? But we've got enough of it that we have a good diversity, so we can predict it pretty well.
Sure.
But we're still going to be, adding generation. We're still going to be adding fossil fuel generation.
Mm-hmm.
But we see carbon capture as a technology that will help us do that. But I think, to the credit of our senior executives and a lot of our planning folks, they've made a lot of good decisions, and we've been able to keep our costs relatively low while keeping reliability super high.
Sure. And I know, but I imagine you get a lot of pressure from the government entities. And
we do, because there's a lot of...
They're trying to buck for votes so they can say that...
They want to keep the carbon going down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the, as an example, our coal plants, there's been a lot of pressure on coal for a number of years now. So we'll be transitioning out of coal over the next number of years. And that's one of the environmental pressures.
Sure. We always remind people the economics of it, though. So when we, for instance, the coal plant that's closest in Texas to here is going to be retiring, and we just had some news about it earlier this week. It's going to be retiring earlier than we thought, but it's really more about economics on that, because we're running out of water where we have this plant. We need a lot of water, and the groundwater supply is running low. There will be a lot of emissions controls we have to put on. So it's all about economics more than anything else. We're not going to do something really stupid. And
basically, you can do what you need to do without that plant being in the grid, so to speak.
So we're trying to work around those things. And as you said, the wind farms actually are paying for themselves through the savings they generate, because they don't use fuel. And that's the big difference. We pay fuel costs for the power plants. Gas and coal.
Just because you hear a lot of political talking points. Is maintenance relatively easy? Because you hear that, there's a lot of stuff that gets spread out there, and
on a wind
I always
farm.
want to hear, if you're getting your information from political ads, you're getting wrong information. I don't care whose client, whose side, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of curious. That's like talking points. It's expensive, and tell us.
Maintenance it's relatively low compared to operating a traditional power plant.
Sure.
But it's like anything else. You need staff on hand.
Sure.
At our Sagamore Wind Farm, we have approximately 30 technicians that are on site, and so they're doing those routine maintenance like you would do on your car, or like you would do on other mechanical.
You got to change
devices.
the oil.
Sure. You got to.
Sure.
And
got to be meticulous with that stuff.
And that's one thing that we've always prided ourselves on, our energy supply group. That's one of the reasons we have these power plants that were built for 50 years and they went 70 or some of them longer.
Actually,
because we've always been, very focused on maintaining equipment.
So I'm just now that we're talking, how we get power and things, just your guys' opinion, what's the future? Is it going to go heavier solar? Do you think nuclear will start entering the equation? Where do you think, or is there another technology that's not on people's radar yet that's going to
I think you just hit on all the above.
Yeah, gotcha.
Seriously, we've got 2 nuclear plants in our fleet up in Minnesota, Wisconsin area, so we understand how to operate nuclear plants. It's just more challenging to build a new one today.
Sure, with the regulations.
Yeah.
And with the...
So we do see growth in solar. we still, as I mentioned, we see growth in carbon capture. So we'll still, but it's technology advances. That's what's really going to get us to the end.
And batteries. You know, it sounds crazy, but you can build a big enough battery, you can make this wind and solar work for you 24 hours a day.
Gotcha.
And, that's been the issue for us now. A lot of this wind comes on at night. Of course, solar's coming on during the day when we need it, for sure. And we need the wind, but sometimes we need the wind to come on at different times.
Right.
So if we can put battery systems on this, and so the wind comes on strong at night and everybody's asleep, we'll save that power for tomorrow.
Gotcha.
And as these things become integrated into the grid, it's going to make a huge difference.
So it's going to be, if you look at and compare it to kind of like personal computers, where, those first ones, big, bulky, didn't have much space. As the technology advances, now we've got, you could pretty much store the entire NASA program to the moon on your phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas, that would have took a room of computers to do that then. Now, to get a battery to store what we're talking about here would probably take the size of this building.
Yeah.
But here in the few years, we might be talking something that's about the size of your car battery.
Exactly.
Or something.
I think that's the exciting part of our industry is what the next 20 years is going to hold. It's moving so fast. We have a lot of, really smart people within our company that are, evaluating those technologies, experimenting with them, partnering with other companies to see, how well they work. We want to do things in a smart way and an economical way, but we know technology has to be a big part of that future for us to keep our costs down, reliability up, and to integrate more renewables or other types of generation in the system.
Yeah, well, it's kind of neat to see this side, and it's hard to have those conversations without politics getting in the way.
It is, but
it's kind of nice to have this conversation with just talking nuts.
But I always tell people it shouldn't have to be political.
Yeah,
our energy supply should be something everybody's interested in,
sure.
and
And I don't care who you are, where you come from. It's kind of nice when you turn on your lights,
and you want to pay. You don't want to pay huge bills for it.
You don't want to have to sell a kid to get to pay for that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I do want to kind of turn attentions to your community side a little bit, because you have to kind of have your head in the sand if you don't realize this. But anytime there's any kind of major event or any, if we see a lot of our community events or, nonprofits doing things, 9 times out of 10, when they start listing sponsors and people that support it, Xcel Energy is always one of those names that are there on the list. And you guys continue to do that. As we get into the holidays, you guys get more and more involved as lighting and things start coming into play. First off, we greatly appreciate that. I don't know. This community certainly would not be the place it is without the footprint that Xcel Energy has had on it. So, but how much of that do you guys get to do? That size? Is that more? Like, are you guys talking nuts and bolts of it? Power? Do you get to do the fun side of it?
That's the fun side. Yeah. Let me tell you, being able to support. We have so many good nonprofits in this community that do so much good work, and we always wish we could do more, but we try to support as many as we can and as a big a way as we can, not only through our sponsorships, but through our foundation. So we have a number that receive grants, through the foundation. But that's kind of who we are, even going back to when we were Southwestern Public Service, as we transitioned into Xcel Energy. That core value stayed the same, and that was our communities are very important to us. As our communities grow, we can grow. As our communities have needs, we need to help try to meet those needs as best we can as a corporation. But I'm very privileged to be able to be involved in a lot of that charitable giving and sponsorships and things. And it's we think every dollar that we give goes for a really good purpose. We try to make sure that we're being prudent with those monies. But so many great nonprofits in this community do a lot of good work. And Wes, you might have other things.
I always remind people this is our hometown. I love history. Southwestern Public Service
cover a lot of territory.
Started in Roswell.
But this is the
1904.
home campus.
This is where it started. So, but it's a business model, I think, too. I mean, we're nice people. I'm a nice guy. Mike's a nice guy. But we're not stupid because at the same time, you've got to understand if you're supporting your communities and they're successful and everyone's got an opportunity to succeed, your business is going to be succeeding. And we're everybody's our customer.
Well, and that's just it. You have a unique business that it's not like some people need you and some people don't.
Yeah,
right.
Everybody
we
needs
like to be
power.
needed.
And even if you're technically under another, it's still connected in some way, shape, or form. So at the end of the day, and that's where and that's the debate of, a utility service versus a product, a widget that you're just selling out there, where, and that just by default, you kind of have to, all right, because our product is more important in the human race right now than, say, somebody flipping burgers, and so, because let's face it, and as we get the cold months here, you guys will start your programs up, the things you always have each and every year for people that have issues paying bills and things. We can, you guys work with them each year, but I got to tell you, the only way that all that works is you got to talk to Excel. Just don't wait for them to turn off your lights to
That's
say,
a great
hey.
point. If you've got an issue, if you're having maybe trouble keeping up with your bills, talk to us. We'll work out a pay arrangement. That's a great point, Mike, because call us in advance. Don't wait till it's a real problem.
And there are a lot of resources. And what's so great about it is our people can connect you with the resources to where you're not having to be the one. Say if there's a charity in town that helps people with utility bills, we're going to make all those arrangements with that charity.
Sure.
So you're not having to go back and forth.
You've got a Rolodex that's got all those.
Exactly.
Right there. It's an actual Rolodex.
We would. I'm sure there is somewhere. And one of the,
I still may have one.
Oh, I do.
I've been around long enough.
If he's at a certain age, like, you still got a Rolodex, maybe.
I print everything out. So. But just to always remind people that. And the anxiety comes mostly from people not knowing. So you start building stuff up in your head. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Well, call us. Just talk to us. Like I said, we can either stretch those payments out, or if something's really bad has happened, you have no income, we're going to find someone to help you with that.
Yeah, that's something that it's consistently going in. And the other thing too, you're talking about saving and all that. I know we like to hold on to old appliances and old things,
old fridges.
And I get you. You're kind of
beer fridge,
but you're actually going to see a reduction in your electrical bill, a significant one, when you replace major appliances, especially your air conditioner. If you've got a 25-year-old or 30-year-old air conditioner sitting on your roof right now, you're gonna see a significant bill difference. I can guarantee it, because that SEER rating's probably like 20.
Yeah, it's not.
And now they're down to what, about 8 or what are they?
So you can really, you can almost pay for, if you've got, like I said, a 25-year-old air conditioner or old refrigerator sitting in your garage still operating, you can buy new and pay for it over time.
Yeah, so those are real legit options if you're looking to cut costs.
And costs are high. I mean, I'll be the first to admit it's gone up because we've had a lot
of the world
we
live in.
We're inflation. We've had a lot of fuel cost increases, and we always tell customers, well, here's what you can do, here's how you can help, and I always remind people there are things we're doing too. So we're looking for sources, for instance, wind energy that has no fuel costs. So if we can use more of that, that's fewer fuel costs that you have to pay. So we're all working together trying to cut costs, but we don't want to be uncomfortable. We don't want to get through winter and have to wear, a parka in our house.
So it's like we don't have to dress like Little House.
Right. We don't have to live like that. So there are ways to do it. And those efficiency programs, if you have a chance, you can go online and find these efficiency contractors that work with us, and they'll come to your house free of charge, and they will look at your house and see.
I say from time to time, because I remember about a year or so ago, I had Excel Energy, and they had like you said, it came out and they did for free. Came out and they did the ductwork and the seals around my doors.
Right.
The pipes under your making sure the electrical everything's
and insulated.
I said pipes. I meant the electrical under there. But
now we still offer that program, and there's lots of others. And if you do need insulation, we have some rebates for that to buy down the cost a little bit. So,
and if there's issues, they fix it all. Like they did the sealing, and it cost me no.
Air leaks are a big waste of energy.
Yeah,
so.
it didn't cost me one dime, and they were in and out in about an hour. It was quick, painless, and kind of neat watching them bring out their tools. And their little big vacuum suck things, and they're like, "Is it going to make my house go?" Is it?
Yes, I know. They try to exactly. They had a hard time with my house because it was built in 1939. They struggled, and I need to do more for sure. But they do a great job, and they'll do more if you want to pay them to do more. They'll come in and insulate your house,
absolutely,
whatever. But
they'll do those quick.
Those are free of charge.
Yeah,
well, I say free, so we're all paying for that. That's part of our cost.
Sure,
we all put money toward efficiency, but you've already paid for it.
Well, think basically. Of it in the medical world, how it's more turned to preventative medicine.
Yes,
you get your screenings, you get your colonoscopy. Think of this as an electrical version of a colonoscopy.
It is.
Never thought of it that way, Mike. But
It's a colonoscopy for your home.
Yeah, I was thinking about Denzel Dunn, our friend. He said the cheapest megawatt is the megawatt you don't have to generate.
Exactly.
So I think that was Denzel's saying. But if he's listening, he was our efficiency guy for many years.
Yeah.
So, but we have a lot of stuff. You can go online. First of all, there's a lot of tips. So go and just kind of Google search Xcel Energy savings tips. You can find any way to do it, and you'll find a lot of information and access to these programs.
And they all help. They
really
these
do.
Things, and you can even, because I know you guys have stuff too where you can talk and work with people, so you can kind of see like when your energy use is peak and all that, and you can use that information to kind of help also mitigate your bill. It's like, how come you have this spike during the day when you're not even there? What's going on? Maybe we can fix that.
Yep.
And maybe it's your air's running, or maybe there is a mechanical issue that we need to send a repair person out. But there's tools and resources through Excel that can help you pinpoint or help you kind of navigate that process if you're trying to curb your bills.
It's all
and cut
about
down
information
usage and all that good
I
stuff.
think that's another exciting thing we're going to be looking at implementing over the next several years will be options to put smart meters at your home so that you can control your energy use more. You can identify, what times of day you're using more energy. It's going to give the customer a lot more information, and I think it'll give you the power to, make those changes.
Absolutely.
We'll be able to offer rates, for instance, that are based
Time
on your
of use
usage.
rates.
Yeah. So, please reach out. Go to the websites, do your research, call and ask questions if you like to talk to live people and hammer this stuff out. That's because they're doing the same thing on their end, and actually I'm guessing, if they're probably glad you're calling because they're saying, hey, we're all trying to conserve energy, but at the same time we want to make sure we have enough of it till.
And if you're in Roswell, I went out with these guys last night. Everybody in town knew them, so you just go hang out at any of the restaurants where Mike is.
He's almost the Norm of Cheers. You just walk in any restaurant
and
and
our other friend Bernard, man, it was like everybody knew him. So it was fun. I had a great time.
Absolutely. Also, I do want to thank you guys personally for we had Bill Williams, Chaves County Manager, join us, and Mike Espiritu, talking about their Green Light for Veterans project, and they kind of hit you guys up last minute. It's like, you ain't got any green light bulbs laying around, do you? And you guys came through and helped them out.
We're always glad to help, and Bill and Mike both are super good guys. I work with them a lot, so I can't say no to Bill if he needs something. He doesn't need much very often, but we were happy to help, and hopefully we'll get a few more light bulbs in people's hands and honor our veterans.
He's always making people buy him burrito breakfast. Make him buy you
He has
one.
a way of doing that.
Make him buy you one next time. Take the rest with you.
I need to get to know this guy. Mike, how come we haven't gone to visit him yet? So.
But yeah, what a cool program they're doing.
It is.
I mean, and the courthouse last night, I looked at it. It looks awesome. So
It does.
everybody ought to go.
Tonight, swing by the county admin building and the courthouse, Chaves County Courthouse, and see. And as Bill was saying, they did the front and the back side. So if you're on Virginia or on Main Street here, you see it either way. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
And always we do appreciate, like I said, every time we look and see there's an event going on, whether it's the bigger ones, your Walk for Hopes or Walk to Alzheimer's, or even smaller ones that are just popping up here and there. And it's like, big thank you to Xcel Energy. They provided us with money or some kind of resource to help.
We're happy to support our community. Really are.
Absolutely. And hopefully we get our wish. Mild,
I'm
but
working
wet
on that.
winter.
Yeah.
I'm going to count on you, Mike.
Wet as in not ice.
I'll talk to my uncle. I don't know if you guys heard.
Yeah,
the football team.
That was such a great story.
It sounds like he's got an in up there, so I'll see see if he can work his magic.
Yeah,
for
that's
us
awesome.
here.
Well, my dad's up there too somewhere. He used to predict weather all the time, and he was pretty good at it. So I was,
maybe between the
he's
two
an
they can work
old
it out.
rancher.
We can get something
That's
there.
how they're
Thanks,
good at that
Mike,
stuff.
for having us.
Anytime. Oh, is there anything we
Appreciate it.
missed? Anything you guys want to make sure we share?
We covered it pretty well, Mike. What do
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah,
We'll
I
just
think
come back
so.
if we think of something.
Yeah, we got something. We'll get you back. It's
All
good
right.
to have you again. It's good seeing you again, Wes.
Yeah, good to meet you
And Mike's
in
always
person.
appreciate the
Yeah.
visit. Well, anytime you guys need anything, reach out. We be happy to help you out.
Thank you so
right.
much.
And if we don't pay our electric bill, please give us a don't get mad.
I'll give you a heads up.
Give us a heads up. Like, hey, we're about to cut you off. Our bill's a little pricey.
We don't want to cut you off. So.
We've spent a lot of money on it.
Yeah, you're a good customer.
Yeah, we got a lot of towers. So
as
thanks,
it looks
guys.
like around
All
here.
right. Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate you. It is 8:48. Let's pause for news and some. Yeah, there's a couple political ads in this one. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Now your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. A 4-year Roswell police investigation into the killing of a Roswell man who disappeared in 2018 and whose body has never been found resulted in the filing Wednesday of a murder charge against another man who is currently serving time in federal prison. 35-year-old Alfonso Reyes Vasquez Jr. is charged with first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and other crimes for the fatal shooting of 39-year-old Freddie Bursain in September of 2018. The murder happened inside Vasquez's home in the 500 block of South Kansas Avenue in Roswell. Police have said Vasquez shot Bursain because he felt the man said something disrespectful to his girlfriend. A man from Mexico was killed in a truck crash in Eddy County on Friday. Authorities say it happened on Potash Mine Road, east of Carlsbad. 30-year-old Miguel Sierra Calderon was killed when his Kenworth semi crossed the center line into oncoming traffic and struck a Peterbilt semi headed west. State police are still investigating the crash. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Got a cold front on the way, so we'll be cooler by tomorrow. In the meantime, mid to upper 70s and very windy today with sunshine. Overnight, some clouds rolling in, our low dropping to about 40, and then windy and sunny on Friday, but a lot cooler. Our high will stay right around 60. Then the weekend looks pretty good, sunny and 70 on Saturday, mid 70s and sunny Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. Stocks fell sharply after Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell signaled that interest rates may need to go even higher than previously thought in order to tame the worst inflation in decades. The Federal Reserve raised interest rates by 0.75 of a percentage point again on Wednesday and said its battle against inflation will require borrowing costs to rise further, yet signaled it may be nearing an inflection point in what has become the swiftest tightening of U.S. monetary policy in 40 years. Demand for new vehicles in the United States remains strong despite rising interest and loan rates, the chief executive of Subaru Corporation said Wednesday. Analysts say Americans are feeling a slowdown in the economy, but car sales are strong. The Agriculture Department announced more than $223 million in grants and loans Wednesday to help small and mid-sized meat processing plants expand as part of a larger $1 billion effort. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
This is Larry Marker, independent write-in candidate for Commissioner of Public Lands. Together, we can take back our public lands while preserving the integrity of your vote. It's easy to vote for Larry Marker. On your ballot, go to the space provided for declared write-in candidate. It's under the heading Commissioner of Public Lands. Mark the oval and write in Larry Marker. Together, we can take back our public lands and preserve the integrity of your vote. Go to LarryMarker.com for more information. Thank you.
Larry Marker, independent write-in candidate for Commissioner of Public Lands. Paid for by the Friends of Larry Marker.
How often do you think your way is the best way? Every time, right? How often do you find out that your way isn't the best way, but you keep trying to make it right even when you know it isn't? More than we would like to admit, don't you agree? In Proverbs 3, Solomon says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." Have you been relying on your own wisdom to live your life, but things just don't seem to be going very well? Are you lacking peace and contentment in your life? Maybe it's time to look to the Lord's wisdom to guide your life instead of your own. I'm not saying your life will be perfect when you follow Jesus, but you can find peace and contentment no matter what the circumstance. He leads you in the right way when you follow him. Every time. And even when life is hard, he will give you the strength and love to make it through.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
Tabosa Developmental Services wants you to be a part of their team. Roswell area applicants are needed for direct support professionals. No experience is necessary with on-the-job training. Get paid while you learn. A variety of shifts are available. Must be 18 with a valid driver's license and a high school diploma or GED. To learn more about a career with Tabosa Developmental Services, call 575-624-1025 or visit online at trytabosa.org. Tabosa Developmental Services is an equal opportunity employer.
Locally owned will get you in gear. That's because you've known us for years at Big O. Big O Tires.
Now through November 13th, save $70 to $100 instantly on select in-stock sets of Pirelli, Nexen, and Aspen tires. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Installation charges extra. Required on all 4 tires. Not valid with other offers. Eligibility may vary. Disposal fees extra and shop fees extra where permitted. See store for details.
The average American takes 8,000 to 10,000 steps each day, and for those suffering from foot problems, each one can be agonizing. The podiatry team at Artesia General Hospital can help diagnose and treat foot and ankle conditions, including diabetic foot issues, arthritis, bunions, or other problems. Doctors Joseph Marino and Joseph Krupa are podiatrists specializing in wound care, fracture care, foot and ankle surgery, and more. Put your feet in good hands. Request an appointment at artesiageneral.com/podiatry, APPT.
This is a call to action. I'm Michelle Garcia Holmes, and I'm running for United States Congress. There's so much at stake this election cycle. The life of the unborn, your safety, the cost of living, and most of all, our religious freedom. I'm calling on every Christian from every church to step out of the pews and go to the polls and cast your vote. I ask for your vote. Send a woman of faith to Washington that will protect and stand strong for our values.
Paid for by Garcia Holmes for Congress.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Slugs have 4 noses, but no fingers to pick them. Here's Mike Winters.
It's sad, isn't it? Good morning. It is closing in on 8:55. Stay tuned next hour. We don't have a guest scheduled, so we're going to replay an interview. Superintendent for the Roswell Independent School District, Brian Luck, joined us in the 8 o'clock hour yesterday. So we had a great conversation talking about highlights from the last school board meeting, which took place a week early this month because of next Tuesday, you might have heard, is Election Day. And so they went ahead and pushed the board meeting up a week so people can, if they want to vote on Election Day and, when they get off work, and there's a lot going on at that time. So to allow people to do that, they went ahead and pushed the meeting up a week. So we'll play that interview with Brian, talking about highlights from that meeting earlier this week and other things happening around the school district here. But yes, speaking of voting, if you want to early vote, you got a couple more days to get her done through Saturday. And then Monday, no voting anywhere. And then on Tuesday will be actual Election Day. Of course, they'll have 11 different voting convenience centers around town you can vote at. Do all that stuff and go out there and vote. Do your thing. It's, you hear everyone's telling you, big election, go vote. But you still got a few days to early vote. And you know what? I legit have not decided yet. I've always been a person that I think I prefer voting on Election Day because it feels more like there's more pageantry to it. Like it's, it seems more important to me that way. I don't know. I have early voted, and I'm not against it per se. I do enjoy the convenience of early voting. I do like the fact that if my Election Day Tuesday turns into some kind of crazy scheduled day, which does happen from time to time in my world, it is kind of nice to say, well, at least I don't have to worry about voting. I took care of that last week. So I know I don't have a lot of time to decide, but I'm at that point where I'm like, do I want to early vote or should I just wait till next week? I still haven't decided yet. I think I need my wife to push me in one direction or the other.
I like the concept of voting on voting day.
Yeah, I do too, but I do like the convenience of early voting. Yeah,
the early voting thing, it does give you more time to kind of think, but at the same time, I feel like once you've come to the poll, you've pretty much made decisions.
Yeah, what I'm worried about is because Tuesdays are always days I go to Artesia and everything else, and I'm like, I'm worried that all of a sudden I get swamped, and next thing you know, it's 7 o'clock, I didn't get a chance to my vote. You know, and that's the only thing I worry about. So,
but you can always, your employer is legally obligated to give you an hour to vote.
Oh, I know.
So
it's on me. It's not on my employer.
I understand.
I build my own schedule where it gets crazy.
We'll hit up LaFonda and then take your hour right after.
Yeah. Well, I'd have to come back here to Chavis County to vote.
You can. I thought you can vote at any convenience center.
In your county. In your county, yes.
All right. Well.
So I'd have to come back to. I go to Hagerman or something and vote.
Yeah, but
on the way.
What's to vote in Hagerman?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I'm still on the fence.
You can work it out.
You've
got time. I mean,
do. I've
not
got
much time.
A couple days.
Like 1 or 2 days.
Today's Thursday. So
Yes.
I got tomorrow and Saturday.
Yeah.
And today.
So figure it out. Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Figured out. That's what I say. I say figure it out.
Yeah, I say figure it out. That was a pretty good Letterkenny impression.
Thank you.
Both of us, I must
I
say.
agree. That's what I say. I say figure it out.
Or
Pause yourself on that
Shorzy,
one.
depending on your where you picked up the series. But yeah. I've got to get something. I've got to start going through my things I need to watch and find something new to. I watched all of the thing on Hulu. What was a reboot? I'm done with that. That was I'm
getting caught up on Tales from the Territories. I'm actually in the CWF episode right now.
I watched the Heart episode yesterday, which is the Stampede.
See, that one I haven't seen.
That's the latest one, the Stampede League, and with
and that's where,
Stu Hart and
the dungeon,
family.
and that's where a lot of some of my favorite wrestlers, including stupid Chris Benoit. I mean, I just love his style of wrestling. He can hell for all I care.
I've watched that one. It's a good one. It's mostly about Stu and stories of Stu and things like that. But it's pretty good.
Just the fact that you would hear screams coming from the dungeon because Stu would be down there just stretching people out.
Stretching people. Yeah, that was the term. So, all right. Town Hall News up next. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Roswell's home for talk radio is 106.5 FM, KEND Roswell.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Just 5 days before the midterm elections, President Biden hitting the road on behalf of Democrat candidates. White House correspondent Greg Clugston says Mr. Biden will be visiting predominantly blue states.
The president returns to the campaign trail over the coming days, stumping for Democrats. As it turns out, he'll be traveling to friendly political territory at stops in California, Chicago, New York, and Maryland before Tuesday's elections. The White House defends the president's itinerary as polls show Democrats struggling to maintain control of the U.S. House and possibly the Senate.
In Pennsylvania, the latest Decision Desk HQ survey and analysis of the polls giving Republican U.S. Senate candidate Mehmet Oz a 53.9% chance of victory compared with Democrat John Fetterman's 46.1% chance. President Biden continuing to obsess over former President Trump. Mr. Biden in a speech last evening accusing Mr. Trump of promoting what Biden calls
a big lie, that the election of 2020 had been stolen.
No mention of the Democrats, who over the years have argued that their elections were stolen by the Republicans. GOP reaction to the Biden speech from a leading Republican voice.
Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas took to Twitter to react to the president. Senator Cotton says, another embarrassing, unpresidential partisan rant from President Biden. Par for the course. Senator Cotton continued to Biden, democracy means one thing, Democrats having complete power.
That's correspondent Bernie Bennett. 217,000 people applied for unemployment last week. It's about 1,000 fewer than the week before. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell says it's too soon to talk about pausing interest rate hikes. That remark, following the Fed's latest increase, sent Wall Street into a tailspin. Right now, the Dow is down about 104 points, the Nasdaq off 60, and the S&P trading 18 points in the red. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, I'm Lance Wallnau, Christian author and evangelical leader, here to remind you that God's gifts should never be taken for granted. Take, for example, your retirement savings. You've worked hard for your money, and God has rewarded you for that. Now, with record inflation eating away at the value of the U.S. dollar, those rewards are literally being taken from you. But there is a way the faithful can fight back. By diversifying your retirement account into gold, your savings can be protected. And that's what God wants. Even better, a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group allows you to transfer your current retirement funds into gold without fees or penalties. To see how it works, text the word FAITH to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold IRAs. That's FAITH to 989898. Take action right now, and I pray that your family is blessed with continued prosperity.
Tokyo criticizing North Korea's latest missile tests, which prompted Japan's government to warn some residents to stay indoors.
Air raid sirens were heard in parts of Japan this morning as 3 missile launches from North Korea were detected. One, a long-range intercontinental ballistic missile. That test appears to have failed, with the missile breaking up as it re-entered the Earth's atmosphere. North Korea has ramped up its testing, with more than 60 missiles launched this year, far more than in any previous year. It needs to fire these weapons to learn how to improve their performance, but this is also intended to demonstrate the increasing sophistication of North Korea's missiles and their potential to inflict massive destruction, especially if carrying nuclear warheads.
The BBC's Jonathan Head. Chancellor Olaf Scholz making his first visit to China as Germany's leader. A diplomatically delicate trip. News and analysis, townhall.com. The Astros tie the World Series by beating the Phillies 5-0 on the second no-hitter in the history of the Fall Classic.
Christian Javier allowed just 2 walks while striking out 9 through the first 6 innings. Brian Abreu struck at all 3 batters he faced in the 7th. Rafael Montero retired all the batters he faced in the 8th. And Ryan Presley recorded the final 3 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Alex Bregman hit a 2-run double for the Astros, who even this best-of-7 series at 2 games apiece.
Correspondent Michael Luongo in Philadelphia. Inflation putting an even tighter squeeze on already pricey kids' sports. Sticker shock in youth sports, nothing new. But the onslaught of double-digit inflation across America this year has added a costly wrinkle on the path to the ballparks, swimming pools, and dance studios all across the country. Watching Wall Street, the Dow down 91 points. The S&P is off 17. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Spreading driving wisdom across the land. One at a time here. Happy Thursday. Welcome to hour number 3.
Trace Inviernos. And if you go the speed limit, you're a jerk.
Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Now, if you're in an area that says 70 or 75.
If you're in a neighborhood, obey the speed limit.
Yeah.
If you're going down Main, 285, anywhere else that's not a school zone, push it a little bit.
At least do it with traffic.
Go 5 over. Go with the
do it with the traffic.
Do what the guy next to you is doing.
Yeah.
Trust me, unless the guy next to you is flipping you off for going the speed limit.
Well, happy Thursday. Welcome to hour number 3. I hope you're all having a good day so far. But someone's going to mention it, just slipped right out of my head. Dang it.
People are what gives me high blood pressure. I actually stumbled on a term that I really love the other day because it was an accident. Because we were trying to say, I have high blood pressure. And it came out, I have high bread pleasure.
Oh.
Because it turns out I
really
do. I have incredibly high bread pleasure.
All right.
I love bread. It's like one of my favorite things in the world.
I do like bread.
I love me some bread.
I love bread with things.
I'm like Oprah. I love bread. I love bread so much I had to get a bread box because my cats were ripping my loaves up. I'd come home from work and I'd have a ripped up loaf of bread on the ground.
You ever make your own bread?
I have. It's been years since I did it, but it's a lot of fun, actually. I love doing it. It was funny how, like, during the pandemic, everybody had, like, a sourdough starter.
Mm-hmm.
I figure now it's probably easy to get a hold of one, so I'm kind of thinking about doing something like that, culturing and making my own sourdough.
There you go.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's actually really easy to do.
Would you do it, like, by scratch, or would you try to get, like, a bread maker? And
No, if I'm going to do it, I don't want to do a bread maker. If I'm going to do it, well, I mean, bread maker would be easy, but I want to do it like the old-fashioned way, like, with the yeast and letting it
churn the
proof
butter
and,
with the butter churn
yeah.
and all that?
I don't know about butter churning. But, like, get a sourdough starter and, like, actually make, process that and make my own sourdough and then mix the flour and actually make bread. That's fun. I used to, I did it before.
I think he does it just so someone can walk into his house and he can walk in and say, "What are you doing, making sourdough in here?" And he's like, "Yes, I am."
Yes, I am. Want some? It's warm.
Extra doughy.
It's if you've never had warm, fresh baked bread, it's like one of the best things in the world. It's like a slightly savory cake. It's awesome.
And let's face it, restaurants know this.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to buy as much food, but at the same time, they're like food, and it's science.
It's how Golden Corral works.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, those rolls are delightful.
Are delightful.
Yeah,
and they know this because they're going to fill up on 6 of them, and then you're only going to eat some of their expensive steak.
I ain't gonna lie, the Texas Roadhouse rolls are delightful too.
So good, dude. That honey butter
I had 3 of them the other day when I was.
I found the recipe for Texas Roadhouse's honey butter.
Yeah?
Yeah. And it's actually pretty easy. I think it's like butter.
Just go to Texas Roadhouse.
It's butter, cinnamon, and I think brown sugar. No, I'm sorry. Butter, cinnamon, sugar, and honey. Okay. That's what it is. And it's just all 4 of those things mixed, and it just makes this perfect.
Sounds simple. Do you have the ratios, though?
I don't.
That's the key.
But that's why every good chef will just try to taste.
Experiment.
Yeah. Sorry.
Experiment.
Okay.
Experiment.
Thought you just weren't enunciating 3 different words there for a second. I was like, whoa, no.
Experiment that. Yeah.
Experiment. You don't realize how important the X is in experiment.
Yeah, it does. It does change a little bit.
It carries a lot of weight.
But yeah, okay. Well, let me know when you make your first sourdough.
I will certainly do.
I will come over to your house for a slice.
No, you will not. I will bring the loaf to work.
I want it right out the oven.
We'll warm it out the microwave. It'll be fresh out the microwave.
I want it right out the oven. With that homemade butter.
I'm not comfortable with people in my home.
I'm not people.
You're not people. I had an incident last week that I'll tell you later. It put me in a weird headspace.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Something happened in your home?
Something that happened in and around my home. My children basically decided to become tour guides.
Oh.
For the neighbor children.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Uh-huh. I had the door open to watch them, to like keep an eye on them while they were playing outside. Next thing I know, there's like 6 kids going through my house. I'm like, can you kindly leave, please?
Oh, how funny.
It's not funny.
Let me give you the rundown for this hour of the show. Stay out of Daddy's drawers.
Personal space. I'm an incredibly introverted person for what I do for a living. I other than that, I just kind of like, go back into my pod.
I'm the same way. I'm not all that different. I think most radio people are.
Mm-hmm.
I think
we get our jollies here.
Yeah, and then we go and hide for the rest of the time until it's time to turn on the microphone again.
Who's your favorite composer? Is it Haydn?
Yeah, I mean there is something to that. But anyway, let me give you the rundown here. We'll get you updated with the weather here in just a bit. Then about 9:15 or so, we're going to play our interview we had with Brian Luck, Roswell Independent School District Superintendent. Yesterday, he joined us talking about school board meeting, which was this week because elections are next Tuesday, and they pushed up a week to allow abilities for people to go vote and do all that stuff. So it's a week early. That's why we have Brian on this week. So we'll play that here in just a few. Later on, we'll get you up to date with news of the local variety, along with your Wall Street business update and whatever else we can come up with for this hour of the show.
Indeed.
Before we do any of that, let's get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Got a cold front on the way, so we'll be cooler by tomorrow. In the meantime, mid to upper 70s and very windy today with sunshine. Overnight, some clouds rolling in, our low dropping to about 40, and then windy and sunny on Friday, but a lot cooler. Our high will stay right around 60. Then the weekend looks pretty good, sunny and 70 on Saturday, mid-70s and sunny Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. I'm glad Steve's back. Just so I can go, thank you, Steve. It's not as fun to say Jennifer, and I want Steve to bring me a monkey. But anyway, currently 55 degrees. Is it not updating? Why are you not giving me fresh weather? That's from like an hour ago. I'm gonna make it do this and see if that'll give me fresher weather. Hold on. I'm fighting a computer. Me apologies. Nope, still give me the same one. They haven't updated. Currently 55 here in Roswell. Humidity, they still say it's 90% with winds out of the south of 14, but I know that's not updated, so I apologize. They say we could see some more fog here before 10 a.m. Otherwise, mostly sunny. Highs around 75 today. Winds are going to be breezy. This morning, out of the south, 15 to 20. Later today, those will increase 20 to 25, gusting as high as 35 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight. Overnight low of 44. Winds will remain breezy out of the southwest, 20 to 25. They will drop down 10 to 15 after midnight tonight. Friday, cooler. Mostly sunny. Highs only expected to hit 59 degrees. Winds will remain breezy out of the west, 10 to 15, but will increase 20 to 25, gusting as high as 35 miles per hour by Friday afternoon. Friday night, mostly clear. Overnight low of 37. Winds out of the west, 15 to 20, dropping down 5 to 10 after midnight. Friday night. And then your weekend, warming back up, sunny, highs back into the low 70s on Saturday, 71 officially, with west winds 5 to 15. And then Sunday, sunny skies, a high of 77 expected. All right, it is 9:14. We're going to take a 2.5-minute commercial break. Then we'll play our interview with Brian Luck, superintendent of the Roswell Independent School District. Don't go away.
Hi, I'm 5th District Judge Eileen Reardon. I'm a native New Mexican and I've lived here all my life. I graduated from NMSU and UNM law schools. The law has been my life. I don't make the laws, the legislature does. My job is to apply those laws to the facts without favoritism or political consideration, and I do that well. I'm asking for your vote on November 8th. I'm Eileen Reardon, District Court Judge. Thank you.
Paid for by the Committee to elect Judge Reardon, Steve McCutcheon, Treasurer.
I'm Judge Reardon and I approve this message.
There is no health without mental health. Staying on top of your emotional wellness is the same as taking care of your physical health. How we feel mentally directly influences our physical health. Together, we can take a dose of wellness to make our personal well-being a priority. Visit doseofwellness.com and find out how to handle the ups and downs of life. Brought to you by the New Mexico Human Services Department.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keon at Carabelli Dental. Same-day smiles are what we do. My passion is helping patients chew, talk, and live with confidence. That's why I'm one of the few doctors in the U.S. who can create beautiful same-day smiles with the latest digital implant technology. This procedure is life-changing. Just ask Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean. I've been that voice that you've heard on the radio for most of my life, but I'm also a dad to 2 amazing kids. I've had a million reasons to smile, but in all my old pictures, I was never smiling. Truth is that life of improper care and being dealt a bad hand genetically left me practically with no teeth. It affected everything from the way I ate, the way I talked, and of course how I interacted with people. And that's where Dr. Keon and Carabelli stepped in. They eased my fears. They explained every step of the process in a way that I could understand, and they made me feel almost like I was part of the team. And now, I can't stop smiling. I have so much more confidence, and I love looking in the mirror now. I can't explain how much of a difference Dr. Keon's dental implant process made for me.
Our team can help you find your smile too. Come see us at Carabelli Dental, 575-622-4455.
This is Larry Marker, independent write-in candidate for Commissioner of Public Lands. Together, we can take back our public lands while preserving the integrity of your vote. It's easy to vote for Larry Marker. On your ballot, go to the space provided for declared write-in candidate. It's under the heading Commissioner of Public Lands. Mark the oval and write in Larry Marker. Together, we can take back our public lands and preserve the integrity of your vote. Go to LarryMarker.com for more information. Thank you.
Larry Marker, independent write-in candidate for Commissioner of Public Lands. Paid for by the Friends of Larry Marker.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Sigmund Freud once believed that cocaine could be used to help treat a morphine addiction. Mike used bacon to get over his addiction to beef. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 20 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, Superintendent for the Roswell Independent School District, Brian Luck, back with us. Morning, sir.
Good morning.
How you doing today?
Pretty good. Kind of a cloudy day, but we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. This was like, it's been cooler and things, but today felt like the first full-on fall morning to me.
It did.
Yeah.
Trees are turning.
Still. Yeah.
Trees are turning. You got leaves everywhere. Roswell's such a pretty place.
Yeah, and to boot, because I come in still dark. They've put up some of the Christmas lights downtown, so a lot of the trunk portions of the trees have lights on them. So it's kind of like adds a little magical feel to it a bit. Yeah.
Heaven forbid you feel good about coming into work.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. Well, I'm guessing schedules got pushed around a little bit here, so the school board met on a night that's not normally their monthly meeting night here. Hence why we're talking to Brian a week early this week here. So, but the school board did meet last night for November.
Yes, sir.
And so if you're hoping to go next week, well, now you got next Wednesday off. Just listen to us and then go back and watch it on the RSD's website.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Election coming up next Tuesday night.
That's right. It is like that. So that makes it a little hard for you to do. I didn't think about that.
And our thought there was, let's let people deal with what they need to deal with. If they want to make, if they're late from work heading to vote, we've got parents that come in for, the pledge or different people doing presentations. Sure. And we just felt like it would probably be easier for everybody if we moved it.
So let's simplify that day just a little bit for everybody. And
let it be for the purpose that it's there for.
Well, it is an important day. And,
very much so.
So if you have not early voted, please make sure you do vote on Tuesday here, or you got the rest of this week to early vote. But if you do not, please go out and vote here on Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Good deal. So last night, was it a pretty full agenda, pretty quiet, kind of somewhere in the middle?
The agenda itself was fairly regular length. We have, just some regular business kind of items. We had a couple really neat presentations at the start of the meeting that set a really nice tone for the meeting. So we had a 90-day plan out from Pecos Elementary School. We've been doing that at our board meetings with schools coming in and presenting just what are they going to do.
Sure.
In our business, they're called 90-day plans. Everybody, improvement plans or goals or whatever. And last night's was Pecos's turn, and they went a little different route with it. The principal was there, and she led the discussion, and she had two phenomenal students that got up and presented with her.
Nice.
So as they were going through things, talking about the different data points and the different strategies that they were going to use and try to acquire, the kids were the ones that were leading the discussion.
How cool
and
is
so
that?
it was a neat. It wasn't just that they knew the verb or the lingo; they actually could tell you what that meant.
Gotcha.
And it really did.
It wasn't a recitation. It was people that understood what they're doing, presenting it.
It was the part for me that I really liked was it tied a lot of things together.
Yeah.
And it was one of the big questions that we've been trying to answer for last year and a half is this getting through? What is the impact that we're making? Because we can spend a lot of money and we can do a lot of trainings and we can jump in front of a microphone and pontificate about all of the great things that are coming, but it really did feel nice to see some of it starting to play out literally right in front of you. And finished up their 90-day presentation, had a couple questions at the end, and then moved right into a kindergarten presentation from Pecos as well.
Nice.
And had two phenomenal ladies that were there. Make sure I get the names right here. That came in and did their presentation. I'm sorry, I don't have names with me right now,
That's
but
right.
I want to say one was Miss Archibek and Veronica, and I'm going to screw up the last name, so I'm not going to try. But they came in with some kids, and they did a demo. They had their curriculum in front of us and talked to the board a little bit about it, and then showed how the actual use of that inside the classroom. And the kids were there, and they were jumping around, and they had some focus activities that they were working on, and it was funny because Mr. French and I were sitting there at the board, and we both were trying to do the focus activities, and I was like, I can't do that. Can you? And he goes, no, I guess we're not focusing well enough. But they really just set it was a nice tone, and then we conducted business after that. But it was a good vibe and a good feeling, and always hats off to all of our schools, but especially to Pecos, because they came in last night and just really shined.
Well, and part of what I think is cool about this, and obviously teachers, and they kind of see the fruits of their labor every day. They're working with the kids and they're seeing that progress on a daily basis, and let's face it, school board members aren't in classrooms day in and day out like teachers are, so they don't necessarily see the fruits of the decisions that they're making and the things they're doing. So, like you said, when we talk about and and you wonder, it's like, is the message ringing through? Is it? And so to start the meeting, they get actual proof and they're seeing the kids, and I would imagine, like you said, setting the tone. After that, each of those board members are probably like, okay, hey, what we're doing is getting through here. And I imagine it probably adds a log to that fire in their heart to want to keep doing this.
It felt good.
Yeah.
And again, we're talking probably 14, 15 board meetings for me as superintendent. That one was probably the best feeling after one of those presentations that I had. I mean, I commend every teacher, student, parent, support service staff here in our district for the work that they do, and even getting out into the buildings like I do. I mean, I just don't get that full sense until you see something like that.
Right.
And that's not saying that it's not going on. But like you said, I mean, when there's such a special bond between a teacher and a student. And I think a lot of our parents picked up on that last year or 2 years ago whenever they were at home, as far as realizing just how much time it takes to get things into their kids and to educate them. And it's a labor of love, and you're pouring not only your time and energy, but you're pouring yourself into the kids.
Sure.
And to see that really start to turn that corner, it like I said, it does feel good.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I'm glad the board got to do that, and obviously a great job by the staff and students for that presentation. And hey, for all those schools that have to do it, haven't done it yet.
Oh yeah,
maybe take notes and take some notes, and you might wow some people with this one.
That bar was set pretty high last night. The irony is we had planned and surprised high school principals. Our next sets of 90-day plans are going to come from some secondary people, so we're going to give our elementary group a little bit of time to kind of prep for that one, so that they don't
group. And,
I don't want them walking in back to that.
But the bar has been set. Just say it.
Yes, it has. And it was very interesting because we went then into a presentation on the services that are available for homeless students in the Roswell Independent School District.
Okay.
And Veronica Barrazas came in and just really did a phenomenal job.
Which I don't know numbers, but I'm willing to bet there's a bigger number than people realize in this district that are quote unquote homeless children.
It's high.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing with that is when I say a homeless student, most people would equate that with, okay, I don't know that I've seen small children sitting next to their parents on the side of the street.
Right.
And according to the PED, it doesn't necessarily have to be just that. If you get people that might be living with a relative or something like that, they still fall into that category.
Sure, people staying in a relative's couch, basically, kind of thing. Yeah.
And we've got a lot of that. I mean, our town it's interesting. Roswell's such a unique place. It's a small town that wants to be big in some ways, and it's a big town that still tries to be small in other ways.
Yeah.
But we still have a lot of families here in our community that struggle to make ends meet, and or maybe not struggle to make ends meet, but have to do different things in order to continue to do
the sacrifices are made in one area to meet ends at the other, and that's kind of what a lot. Well, and that's every family deals with that at some point or another, but some that's a way of life, and that's the problem.
I was at an elementary school the other day visiting with a principal, and one of the conversations we dove into was about a student that was living with multiple sets of family members, and that one of her struggles was she never knew every night where the kiddo was going to be, and that the student would literally walk outside and knew the family members that he had, but did not know who was coming to pick him up. And that hurt. I was like, gosh, that's such a different way than I grew up. And to be honest, I would say probably 70% of our town did not grow up in that fashion. But it is, and it makes it tough. I mean, when you don't know where you're going to be the night, you can't leave something there from the night before so that you can pick it up and do what you need to do. And then say, hey, okay, the next morning I want you to walk into school and pretend like everything's okay. It does make it tough. And we've got some really good people that monitor that for us. They help follow the kiddos if they were to move and leave town. They try to follow where they're at because it's our responsibility. If they'll notify us where they're going, I'm going to move to San Antonio, fair enough, and then we contact the
kid's education,
the group there in San Antonio, just to try to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to ensure that they get what they need, regardless where that is. Because that's that's a tough one, And again, like I said, I left that day not having a real good feeling in the pit of my stomach because it just it hits home. And it's hard, and to say that it does not happen in our town it's not accurate.
And that's why I mentioned that. I was like, I think there's a bigger population of kids that deal with these issues, and I think many in our community realize.
We do, and then right after that, the November is National Homeless Awareness Month, and so they actually picked up a resolution that said, that in support of making sure that our district supports actions, that we are going to follow all policies. We're going to, be straight down the arrow with what we need to do to help kids, and just an open commitment from the school board itself. And so we tied that right into that right after it. And then they also got an opportunity to hear from Ms. Barrazas the different supports that we have, whether that be coats or shoes or, helping with find resources in the community. That's another thing with Roswell is I constantly have people reach out and say, hey, might not be able to do this for a lot, but if you ever run into something like this, don't hesitate. I don't want my name mentioned, but don't hesitate to reach out to me. So hats off to our community as well.
Absolutely. And I'll just, again, my wife's a teacher. I see a lot of stories and things. And just over the years, I've seen lots where teachers, not just my wife, but many, many teachers in our district, they see a kid with shoes that they're wearing these, my wife, matter of fact, my wife did it and bought them over the years. And then there's been times where someone else heard she bought shoes and got shoes donated and things like that. So it's there's a lot of heroes that are under the radar that just take care of these needs without, and that's what, I mean, we see numbers at your level, but how many of those other people, they just get taken care of because someone says, oh, that poor child needs this.
I got this.
And I got this.
I don't have time to wait on Brian. I'm going to go get this. I'm going to go get this done.
So we got to salute all those people, and thank you. But we'd like to get to a point where, where there's more resources for this and everything else. And so, because it is something that, our teachers look at. And it's just one of those things, when we talk about teachers, I know my wife's a teacher, I'm biased, but that they do so many things that go under the radar that people don't realize. And so all you got to do is you work, 7 months a year or whatever, 10 months a year, whatever the number is. And you're just like, okay, whatever, bud.
Well, and Ms. Barrazas and I were talking the other day, and I'd made the comment, I said, it's about time for a coat drive. And, as if you were to run into, a closet, or if you got people out there that have had, their kids are grown and probably still haven't had a chance to clean out a closet or maybe a bedroom, and you run across something like that, man, don't throw it away. If you don't donate it to a shelter or something like that, especially if it's a little kid size, we would be more than happy to take it. And
that's a great idea.
And if I'll help you out with that. If you can't think of anywhere to take it, you're free to bring it by central office or just take it to any of the schools here in town, and we'll get it back where it needs to go, get it good and cleaned up and get it out. They actually have a little storeroom, a little warehouse.
Okay.
With
like a pantry almost.
Yes, sir. With
clothing closet.
Different sizes. And I've already reached out to some of the schools to make sure where we're at. So we haven't really put the full court press on as far as getting that out yet, but if you run into that, or we've got listeners that have, it's time to clean out a closet or something like that. Boy, don't don't hesitate, or if not, just reach out to me and I'll come get them. I mean, That's not a big deal.
Call the radio station and tell us. We'll drop them off here. We'll make sure it gets in the right hands. Absolutely.
Because I think you're spot on. I mean, I'm the son of a teacher, and I can tell you multiple times that things would go to school and they wouldn't come back, and I'd ask my mom, what happened to that? And she said, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And hey, that's good. Or a sack full of Cheez-Its and things like that would go, and I was like, where's that? I left it at school, darn it.
For many years, my wife used to have this big bag of Christmas presents sitting in our closet. And I'm like, whose present? They're just in case kids forget. I'd bring presents and have, just little things like that. It's just stuff that, and for years it'd be sitting up there. And it's like, in case people forget presents. Right. That's this kind of stuff they do.
Well, they assume such a special place in the kids' lives.
Yeah.
And you take that away for a year or two, and it's a tough turn back on, and it really does show people what they missed.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you can't write that down. You can't put a number to that.
Yep.
It's just dadgum special.
Yep, absolutely. So please, thank you to every single person that does that, and you know what? Let's participate. Work with the schools on for folks that are wanting to do more here.
Sure.
Talk to the office here and say, hey, how can we get involved? How can we help? And let's see if we can blow this up into something pretty big, a big, well-run, well-organized side of the RASD that's out there. So,
what a novel approach!
Yes. All right, I know we got a little off topic there with our meeting, but we'll bring it back in here.
Now,
on the meeting.
Mr. Bewley came in with some assessment updates. I think one of the biggest one is the Nation's Report Card that came out a couple of weeks ago, and where New Mexico ranks, and it's dead last. And we were fielding questions from the board. We don't have a Roswell report. If that's available, we don't have it.
Right. I understand how it is. With radio, they talk about ratings, Armatron ratings and all. Well, they only do that in the major 25 markets, larger, like Albuquerque's a rated market.
Mm-hmm.
You get down here, and if we show up in numbers, it's because we're not in the Albuquerque market, but sometimes we show up in that so ratings aren't relevant here. And despite what radio salespeople tell you when they visit your businesses, it's not that relevant around here. But anyway, because they're trying to sell you something. Anyway, but I imagine it's similar in that vein where they're looking at Dallas, they're not looking at Roswell, New Mexico.
Well, and ironically that you bring that up, the one town that was mentioned on there was Albuquerque, and so there was a slide there that did talk about Albuquerque and changes and no changes, and I think the biggest thing for me that I would like to get out to the public or make sure that everybody understands is we know where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
We're not running from it, we're not hiding from it. And we have work to do. We've put a lot of time. I've got a great group, but I want to brag real quick on my curriculum and instruction office for just a second. They've put together a plan to try to regroup and then not only regroup, but then push.
Gotcha.
And I really think that we're going to get there. We've got our middle of the year, our MOY test that are going to be coming up here December, January type. And we're really excited about the data. Some of the preliminary work, and it's interesting. People say, "Well, we're always given a test," and I'm like, "I know that," but part of the other side of that is we have to be able to
measure.
Well, we got a plan.
Yeah.
If this is my widget factory, and people hate it when I do the widget thing, but if this is my widget factory and I'm midway through my production season and I'm producing more, better, faster, stronger, that's what I'm looking for.
Sure.
We have to have some type of a data point to go from for that. So, again, and our board is extremely committed. I cannot emphasize that enough.
Sure.
As far as we will do better, we are going to do better.
Well, and kind of keeping with the widget, ideology. If obviously this is the balls they juggle here. That yes, every child's unique individual. We want to give every child the attention that they deserve, but we want to. We've got a lot of them. We've got thousands of them.
Right.
And we've got to get all thousands of them through this. How do we do that efficiently with the resources and materials we have? And so that's really, at the end of the day, the balance that you guys have to deal is, all right, we want to make this, crank out those widgets as fast and great as possible without sacrificing the personal touch.
Right.
And when the world figures it out, you're going to be a billionaire, because that's kind of the key to how do you juggle this?
Well, if you have that key to success, you can stop doing what you're doing here. And that's not the interesting part about it. Is I think it's the same set of problems that every superintendent, every board, every person that's ever walked into a classroom has faced. Whether even if you go back 40, 50 years, granted times were different and things were different, but they still had their set of problems, and those were their key things that they were after. And right now, our set of problems will look a little different than they have in the past, and they'll need a little different solution. So super excited about finding out and seeing if our prep work has got us in the right place. I think, like I said, our preliminary data is showing that we're in a good spot.
Good.
So
good.
Some action items real quick. We've approved some trips out of town for our kids. Anytime a student leaves New Mexico, we have to go take that before the board.
Yeah.
So the irony is we can travel all the way to Farmington or
Florida.
Aztec. Well, if I stay in the state of New Mexico, I can get on a bus for 8 hours and go to Shiprock.
And you're good to go.
And I do not need board approval.
But you go to Lubbock.
But if I go to Denver City, Texas, or Plains, Texas, right across the straight line, I've got to get board approval.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Those state lines.
Well, they like to know, and I don't blame them, because when you generally when you talk out of state, you're talking, 10, 15 hours, give or take, a Florida trip, Los Angeles,
some are multiple days,
Indianapolis for our FFA guys and gals, but these were Roswell High close-up trip to Washington D.C., and then Goddard and Roswell High School are taking like 230 kids over to Texas Tech to tour the campus. So we have a program
called. It's gonna be a quiet day at the high schools there. It's gonna be a little less peak traffic at the high schools that day.
A little bit. We've got a program called Avid, and at some point in time, I really would like to have Ms. Cole and a couple of the principals come in and really talk about Avid as a whole. But it's something that we've brought in. It makes sense. It takes you back to a little bit of old-fashioned teaching. Some citizenship. It's just a very good program. So that particular group of kiddos, and it's 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. So it's across the parameter there of the kids.
Okay.
They are headed to Lubbock to go tour Tech. The thought there, why wait until they're juniors or seniors to go get them excited about going to college?
Sure.
Let's take a student that, and these don't necessarily have to be, in honor society kind of kids. These are just some general average run-of-the-mill kids that may or may not go to college.
Sure.
And
they express an interest.
And may or may not go to Texas Tech, but you get them to one of those schools, you show them the opportunities that are outside.
Here's what awaits you after high school. Yeah.
And it really does spark a fire with a lot of them. And it is just a great opportunity. We're excited about that. We had some policies that were on the books last night for a second reading. One of them is our medical cannabis, and there were 3 policies associated with that. Just real quick, we are not, and I had some people catch me in the grocery store. When we look at medical cannabis, what we wanted to do was make sure, because that policy is not currently in existence anywhere. And state law says that if a doctor prescribes it, we have to let it happen.
Sure.
So we wanted to get in front of that policy. I had somebody say, "Well, are they gonna be able to smoke?" No, it's not that.
And let's face it, and I'm not an expert, but if it's medical for children, it's probably in a pill form of some kind.
So it has. So our policy, our potential policy will state that it has to be. But then it has to be regulated, just like any other medication given at the school level.
Yeah.
It has to be accompanied by a doctor's.
Sure.
You have to bring it in. You have to take it at particular times.
It'd be just like if a child got prescribed pain meds for a root canal or something, and they got to take their Percocet at noon or something. It would go to the nurse. The nurse would administer it, and it's treated exactly the same way.
And I said the word, and I was not trying to offend people, and I don't think I will, but I said if you substitute the word Ritalin for cannabis, everything flows. It's not anything that we're attacking one over another.
Sure.
It's a nameless, faceless policy that's in good practice.
Sure.
So we did have that, we thought, ready, and we ran it by legal.
and then it wasn't so ready.
Well, and ironically, yes, there were just a few minor changes that they wanted to make before we went ahead and put it through. We weren't in a rush for it, so we went ahead and tabled that one for last night. We pulled it off the agenda.
It's better to get it right than fast.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
Now, we did have a policy about using Narcan and having Narcan on campus, and then a Narcan checklist for staff, training, buildings, et cetera, and then an opioid overdose policy.
So does that get to a situation where at some point all staff will have to be knowledgeable on how to use it, or is it?
Well, it's voluntary with that. I mean, they don't have to.
Because didn't they do the same thing with the defibrillator deals that are in kind of some places?
So those are posted in the buildings, and usually the nurse has those at the smaller schools, but we've got those in the high schools at a couple of different common places.
Okay.
But more like your EpiPen would be what that is. So, and if somebody's not comfortable with it, I'm not going to ask them to be certified in that situation. But but we do and have had situations. Fortunately, they were false. But we've had a couple where, like our security guards, we felt like our security guards might have come into contact with fentanyl.
Yeah, that's the thing. As scary as anybody, if you accidentally touch this fentanyl, you're going to need the Narcan. So it's not just, because you're thinking, well, how much drugs are coming into schools and things, and it's not often, but with this fentanyl, it can impact a lot of people with not even intending to.
Well,
and
we had
the
a fight.
problem.
We had a fight one time at the high school, and after it's all said and done, we had EMS come in because there was a potential medical incident that happened afterwards, and they're gloving up and masking up, and this is before COVID ever was even a thought, and we're like,
that seems a bit overkill.
We're sitting there, and you just got this crazy look in your eye because you just had to deal with that, and they're like, well, we're precautionary over this, and we all looked at each other like,
you got any more of those gloves?
Oh, we were too. You just didn't see that right now, but no, we're making sure that we're being proactive with that.
Sure.
Some big ones coming up. I don't know how much time we have left.
We have a few more minutes.
Okay, so strategic plan update. We have worked really hard to get on paper our goals as a district for the next year and a half. We will have some community input, a community input session that will take place November the 16th.
Okay.
Which is a couple Wednesdays from now.
Yep.
And I'm going to have staff, I'll have principals, I'll have staff on that day. And then at the end of it, from 5:30 to 7, I will have, it's a community forum. So anybody that wants to come in and listen to our projections and what we're thinking.
Okay.
And it's a feedback session. We'll stick to the strategic plan. I mean, if they want to chew on me for something else, we'll probably make an appointment. But I would like the feedback. This is our school district, and if we're off base on what we're looking at, I would, that would be the time to speak up.
And that's what obviously school board meetings, when the board meets and things, and a lot of times when certain topics that are up for discussion are getting get a little more attendance and audience than others. But this is that forum for. Obviously, we want to stick relatively close to the topics at hand here, but this is that chance for the public to say, so if you're on Facebook, it's just everyone loves to grumble about things on social media, and I'm like, oh, well, you want to do something about it? Well, this meeting's one of those types of events. This is you rolling up your sleeves and being part of the cure, not the cause.
And what we'll do is we'll post that online for people so that they're not walking in and it's a substantial document. It's got 6 primary bullets, and each of those bullets probably have 8 things underneath them. So it's not something that I mean, if you needed to and you walked in, you just started reading it, I guess you could be okay. But for those that really want to have an opportunity to look into it, we'll have that posted online, and I'll get the location. We've had some confusion as to actually where the location I'm going to do this is.
Gotcha.
Try to get a big enough space,
sure,
just in case I have a decent sized crowd.
Sure. Well, you could always put them at the auditorium there at the.
Well, and the room that I'm planning to use is actually right next to the auditorium. So if I do get a larger crowd, then we can always walk in there.
Walk over next door.
You bet. That's coming up. 2 other big things. One, with our football teams making the playoffs. And congratulations to Coach Lynn, Coach White, the assistant coaches, the assistant coaches' wives, the coaches' wives. I mean, it is, you talk about labor of love.
It's an army of people that support
the band parents. It is just, it is so nice to go back out to these games and see that happening again.
Yeah.
It's just normal.
Well, we got a weekend off.
Well, yes,
football,
and your crew was very excited about that. So, I wish, and I want to say,
well,
thank
they're
you to
not
them
really
too.
off because now we got like soccer and other volleyball and other things going on. So.
They can think they're off. So.
NMMI is still around doing stuff. So yeah.
But the one thing that we would like to remind everybody, our teachers, and then our people in the community, once we hit playoffs, our passes don't work. So your activity passes don't work. And then our teacher badges don't work as well.
Yeah.
But the other big one is that we are going, when this happens, we go back to an MAA setup, which is online. So our tickets will be all online. And
Okay.
Mr. Cooper in the athletic office is going to get out all the information on that
Okay.
as soon as we set the dates and times of the games.
I remember like last year, it was a lot of them you had on your phone, and
Yes.
you could kind of scan it in when you come into the gate there.
We chose as a district not to go that route this year. We
Okay.
felt like it was just maybe a little more hassle
Okay.
for our community than it was worth for Britt.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
Okay.
But we don't have a choice on this one, so
Okay.
We'd be more than happy to help people.
Sure.
If they need help getting them. The funny one is I saw generations coming together in line with people that weren't real familiar with how to use their phones to get to the deal. And you know, the high school kids are standing there going, here, just give me your phone. Or hand me your cash and I'll buy your ticket. And
right.
So there's, like I said, we just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that.
Sure. And by the way, just for video, and we'll obviously carry all of their playoff games on the radio. This first round, for them first round, it's not the first round, but for our team's first round, we'll be able to video those.
At the home sites usually.
Yeah. Past that, I don't think we will because, again, just like NMMA takes over, different people have the video rights to, even if they're in our home stadiums here. So I can tell you right now, we will not be able to video a championship game. Odds are pretty good. We're going to have at least one, probably two teams from our district that'll be making an appearance in that. Which two? We got to play the games first. But
well, and when that happens, I would advise that you buy a ticket. They're not heavy.
Yeah.
And you can carry one on into the game and come and cheer. And really, high school football in New Mexico, I mean, everybody always talks about Texas. There is a special feel on a Saturday afternoon for a championship game.
Yep.
Real quick, last thing for me, our Thanksgiving dinners, we're back.
Oh, good.
We've got our parents coming back in. That will be November the 9th for elementary. That's kind of the big one. The mid school and high school is on the 11th, but the
high
9th,
school parents don't seem to.
Yeah, they don't.
Or the kids, I would say, are probably not so thrilled about their parents coming to spend Thanksgiving.
November 9th, the cost of that is $5. If you need more information, contact your child's school.
Very good. So come and have lunch with your Thanksgiving lunch with. And I've always loved the Thanksgiving school lunches, even as a kid. I love that turkey. I love the dressing. I love to me it's
pumpkin square.
Yeah, I love that. Was one of my favorites. Close second to the pizza.
Yeah. Well, I didn't plan last year. I was late to the date, and I am solid white shirt and roll into Washington Avenue, and I was cranberry guy. And I don't know how we did it, but I managed to pull it off. But
the white shirt didn't make it.
White shirt was fine.
Okay.
But it's just a neat thing.
It is.
And like I said, that turns back on so many things, and it's such a good deal to get the parents back.
Your whole meeting last night is just, because we were talking improving trips. You guys weren't doing that for a couple of years.
No, we weren't.
We're talking about parents coming in and enjoying a meal with their children in a school again. I mean, this is nice. So it's nice to see.
Dare I say regular?
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe we'll be back to doing. I know, like a lot of schools like to bring in community leaders to have lunch with some of the kids, and maybe all that stuff will start coming back.
I see that starting back up, and then too, with the other parts of that is our veterans assemblies that are coming up.
They're going to be in person.
Yes, sir.
At the high schools, we'll work hard and heavy to give you all the information and bring some of that. But I know Goddard, Roswell, many of our middle and elementary schools have different ceremonies planned and things, and of course we'll have the citywide that Saturday after Veterans Day. So
well, and I will say this: if you're a veteran and maybe you don't have a school age kid, or your school kids are long gone and moved away, and you'd like to be a part of something, you just don't know where. Don't hesitate to reach out to
Yes.
central office, please.
I'm not trying to play favorites here, but if you're a rookie and never been to a veterans assembly, go visit the Goddard one. They all do an amazing job. They all are great. I'm not trying to, but it's like you're going to a rock concert with the veterans that come in there. You walk in the building and there's like about 400 people cheering you on. You know, It's just amazing. So and I love this part because. And I say this to all veterans. You know, I know a lot of veterans don't want recognition. They just kind of did my job and go home. But it is also your duty as a veteran, in my opinion, to ensure that we have another generation of veterans like you. And so we need to put you on the pedestal a little bit to show the next generation why you're important. And that's what this day is all about to me.
It's interesting from being a part of that assembly for so many years. It is an opportunity to honor the individuals, but it's also as equal, if maybe not even greater, equal of an opportunity to educate the kids about what has gone before them to get them there.
Absolutely.
And you cannot put a price tag on that.
Yep. And it's kind of, you know, they all do great, but the Goddard one just seems to have like this. It's like a rock concert. It's, you know, you're used, and the kids are celebrating and cheering, and it's not like gratuitous. It's because they really appreciate what these people are doing, and it's neat.
I can't think of a year that we didn't have a veteran come up to either myself or Mr. Hill and say, for years I walked around with bad, and you gave me the opportunity today to get rid of it.
Yep.
So
that's true. I never thought from that angle, you know, folks dealing with some issues and things. I'm lucky. I didn't have to deal, but I know a lot of people weren't lucky like me. So, Well, Brian, we get it all?
I got it all.
Awesome. As always, appreciate the visit here. And anytime if we need to, before next month, we need to see you, don't hesitate to reach out.
You bet. I look forward to it. Happy Veterans Day to you, especially. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. All right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
It is 8:57. Quick break before news. Don't go away.
A Roswell man who disappeared in 2018 and whose body has never been found resulted in the filing Wednesday of a murder charge against another man who is currently serving time in federal prison. 35-year-old Alfonso Reyes Vasquez Jr. is charged with first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and other crimes for the fatal shooting of 39-year-old Freddie Bursain in September of 2018. The murder happened inside Vasquez's home in the 500 block of South Kansas Avenue in Roswell. Police have said Vasquez shot Bursain because he felt the man said something disrespectful to his girlfriend. A man from Mexico was killed in a truck crash in Eddy County on Friday. Authorities say it happened on Potash Mine Road, east of Carlsbad. 30-year-old Miguel Sierra Calderon was killed when his Kenworth semi crossed the center line into oncoming traffic and struck a Peterbilt semi headed west. State police are still investigating the crash. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo reporting.
Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Yes, so Lee Zeldin has a chance, but it's still an uphill climb. And yes, it is no doubt Tudor Dixon could beat Gretchen Whitmer. She's even up by one in one poll that just came out. Yes, it's a dead even race in the state of Washington with Patty Murray and her challenger Tiffany Smiley. I'd love to see all three of those races won by Republicans. None of it is a slam dunk. I'm telling you all of this because there are way too many people that I'm hearing and listening to that are a little too Pollyannish and a little too optimistic for my liking, because every one of these races that I'm mentioning to you are all very, very, very close.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. Medishare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 866-89-BIBLE. That's 866-89-BIBLE. 866-89-BIBLE.
When sudden flooding collapsed the city bridge this summer, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham lost no time sending special state funds to fix it and committing new state resources for flood control so it won't happen again. As one city councilman told The Record, this isn't just a one-time visit or check from our governor. We are going to have a partnership to continue to make things the way they need to be. A partnership that builds on state help that Michelle Lujan Grisham provided these last 4 years, securing $5 million for hangars and improvements at the Roswell Air Center, on top of the $5 million she authorized in 2020. In fact, the governor approved all Chavez projects in this year's infrastructure budget, including investments for Roswell, Hagerman, Dexter, Lake Arthur, and ENMU. And she's delivered $300 million for roads in the southeast corner in just 3 years, more than the previous administration delivered in 8. Trade her in for the weatherman? Now that just doesn't make sense.
Paid for by New Mexicans for Michelle.
Approved by Michelle Lujan Grisham.
This is the owner of Trustmark Roofing, and nothing makes us happier than telling our customers no. As in, no pricing games. We give you a guaranteed price and then we stand by it. No surprises, no gotchas. No obscurity. We don't just tell you what's wrong with your roof. We record our inspections and show you. No lemons. We install premium roofing materials from top brands like Owens Corning. No shortcuts. We're in the 2% of roofers with the Owens Corning Preferred Contractor Certificate for our local area. This means we offer precision installation and the longest warranties. Want a beautiful new roof that's built to last? Choose Trustmark Roofing, the roofer that loves to tell our customers no. For an estimate, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Your home for Sean Hannity in Roswell. 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Applications for jobless benefits fell slightly last week.